got the little man, you got the big man, and you got the bigger man.
And coming at you in the flesh and not plastic. How about that? It's Kellen Nitro coming at you for tonight's Classic Nitro Steak Live, the first one for 2024. So happy New Year, everybody. And welcome to Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited, where we kind of break down and talk retro wrestling once in a while with a good group of people. I myself am the hardcore fan. We're going to bring in the lapsed fan. It is Mr.TL. How are you, sir?
I am amazing. And those pop vinyl figures, those look great, except Mr. Craig, his is the only one where the body should be the same size as the head and all like muscular.
Well, let's bring him in here because I want to break down these pop vinyl figures made by AI right away. So our brand new fan on the podcast, I should say, is
thanks, Boston.
CraigPFraser.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm coming to you live from the basement, and I got a new look. I like to think that my puppet figure is actually pretty accurate to my actual dimensions, so I got no problem with it.
Let's see here. So this is how the AI drew it up. So here's mine, and the only issue I have with mine is the logo is a little weird, but obviously, if we were ever to pursue these, I would supply them the logo. There'd be no problem with that. And stuff. Ty or Mr. TL, you said there was something you had issues with yours.
No, I think it's fantastic. It's just I never smile with my teeth.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I want that jacket. Like that.
Yes,
that's me. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And I have some issues with Craig's here. First of all, how come he gets a pedestal and we don't?
What do you mean?
Greatness. He's not a pedestal.
We don't have pedestals?
We don't have pedestals, no.
I didn't even notice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, look, you have one.
Yeah, you don't have a pedestal.
I don't have one.
And then what's this? It's like Gaelic name on the bottom of the pedestal. It's like Craig's.
Well, it's AI. We forgive that.
Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah. So I gave him the Buster sword and the mic and the Leafs jersey. So there we go. But anyway, yeah. So that's that AI prompt you can get online through Microsoft, and you can Funko Pop yourself or your friends and that stuff. And that was kind of like an in vogue thing over Christmas and that stuff that people were doing. So much in that vein, how was everybody's Christmas?
Good Christmas.
Right on. Good.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you no details. You get no details about this.
Nobody's getting any details.
It was a very special Christmas. It was an amazing Christmas. Probably one of the best I've had in my entire life. But you get no details.
the bubble with the thumbs up. Do the thumbs up again. The bubble popped on.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
I have no idea. It was your thoughts are trying to escape. You want to tell us. Santa got you something special.
Just you got to like do a thumbs
Actually,
up like
I didn't get any gifts this year.
Okay,
nice.
I got 0 gifts this year. I did a lot of like giving of the gifts.
I know what? Gifts are better.
Crazy. I think that's an Apple thing because I've done a couple of calls on the iPhone, and with Apple, they've done like a iOS update that does a thumbs up. I don't know. It didn't do it that time, so it's weird.
I don't know what triggered it.
Yeah, strange. Your machine is possessed. It's crazy. So there we go. Over the Christmas holidays, before we get into our classic show for this edition of the live stream podcast, whatever you're watching. By the way, if you're watching us on tinyurl.com/Nitromaniac TV, thank you. Also, we are streaming out live to the Wrestling Unlimited Facebook group, my Twitter at Kellen Nitro, Twitter X, and the old freakingnitro.com Facebook group as well. show. We'll get into our retro programming in a second, but I want to hit on a couple of current things with you guys. Number one, did you guys go see the Iron Claw at all over the Christmas holidays?
I did not know, but I was going to try and see it.
Okay, I went to go check it out over Boxing Week, and the movie itself, I'm going to put it in my wrestling movie top 5. Not that there's a lot of movies to be put in the wrestling movie top 5, but it's going to be down there a little bit. I think I got it in the 4-5 slot, probably just ahead of.
Whoa! Time out.
Okay,
there's only like 3 wrestling movies ever. How is this on the bottom?
so okay, this is my rankings here. This is what I got. So The Wrestler is my number 1 wrestling movie of all time.
Overrated.
Okay.
No,
second
movie.
Second one was Beyond the Map, because classic.
That counts.
That counts. Yeah.
That's a documentary. That's not a movie.
It had a run in movie theaters. I recall seeing listings for it locally in movie theaters when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Hitman Heart Wrestling with Shadows was number 3 prior to this.
Okay, if you're counting that should be number 1.
No,
are you kidding?
It's dropped.
No, that's
it's dropped. It's dropped. This could be an entirely new podcast or new video topic later on, but that one is dropped for me for various reasons. So I'm gonna put Iron Claw, like I said, in a free 4 slot. I think I'll put it in 4, just pushing Hitman Heart Wrestling with Shadows a little bit. Casual fans of wrestling or people that have no interest in the sport and that stuff, but want to just check out the movie for the content of it and that stuff, will love the movie. It's the story of the Von Erich family and the tragedies of that family in the 80s and so on and so forth. They'll love that movie. Hardcore wrestling fans will hate that movie, like myself, because they take a hatchet job to the timeline of events, I should say, and it really doesn't make any sense towards the end of the movie. And there's a lot of whimsicalness towards the end of the movie, which is weird. It's just kind of gives it off a really strange and weird vibe towards the end of it. But we rank things, like I said, out of 10 on it. So I will give Iron Claw maybe about a 6.5 out of 10. I thought it was enjoyable, but there was a lot of things where I was watching and I was like, okay, why are they watching it? So, or why are they doing that? I should say.
Yeah, this is where it's hard to be a fan sometimes, because like they know that this isn't wrestling movies. This is for anything.
Mm-hmm.
When you get those hardcore devoted fan bases that love the material, love the subject matter, it's almost impossible to do it justice, because as soon as a studio gets involved, it's like, look, the fact of the matter is they're trying to make money off of it, and want to make sure that it's going to go to the widest audience possible. They don't just want it to go to the hardcore fans. They want it to go to mom and dad, the kids, everybody, right? They want to make toys off the movie, potentially, depending on what it is. So it's like I had the same issue with like the Lord of the Rings of Power show. Like I'm a Tolkien nerd. I've read all the books and the histories and the appendices. And it's just like I'm watching the show, and me and a lot of other Tolkien fans are like, no, like a lot of the stuff they decided to do. But they are doing this for the wider audience. So like I have a feeling that you're never going to appease the very, very loyal fan base.
Yeah,
it's very fun to do that.
Of course. I will also add that it'll definitely be worth a watch once it gets out to streaming, the Iron Claw. Because I'd love for both of you guys to see it and let me know what your thoughts are on it. And I think the runtime is fairly digestible too. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's not like it's a 3-hour epic or anything like that. I think it's like clocks in at like an hour 30, hour 45, something like that. So
I'm just trying to figure out what your number 5 is. Nacho Libre.
I like the comedy in Nacho Libre just because I'm a Jack Black fan, but.
My favorite wrestling movie is the one where all the wrestlers in the WWE play cartoon penguins and they go surfing. I haven't seen that movie. I've seen it. Now my favorite movie, because I saw an Undertaker penguin on the surfboard and I was like, wow. Just wow.
Actually, my my number 5 favorite wrestling movie of all time, just because of the campiness of it and how bad it is No Holds Barred. But anyway.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
That's a Christmas tradition for me. I always watch that every Christmas Eve.
I will say, speaking
That's
of
my
Christmas
answer to Die Hard. So
I finally watched Die Hard for the first time this Christmas season.
oh, okay.
I had never seen Die Hard before. And so it's awesome. It's great.
Yes, it is.
It is good. It is good.
I also this past year I saw Back to the Future for the first time, and that wasn't as good for me. And a lot of my friends who have seen it way back are like, "Oh, you ruined it. You had to watch it as a kid." And like I still haven't seen The Goonies. That one's next. But like for me, it was like I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch Die Hard. But it was pretty good. I liked it.
That's cool. Right on.
Also, another action movie that happens at Christmas that no one talks about is Lethal Weapon 1.
Okay.
It is a Christmas movie.
Okay. Yeah.
But nobody gonna talk about that.
I mean, that, and you can make that argument too about Batman Returns as well. I would say is that yes.
Ain't nobody watching no Batman Returns. Who's watching Batman Returns?
I am.
Watching Lethal Weapon 1.
Lethal Weapon 1's an amazing movie.
Because we got
it is
Michelle
the greatest
Pfeiffer.
Mel Gibson performance of his career, and that includes Braveheart.
Okay.
Because he was a shitty Scotsman.
Well, the movie's extremely accurate, but we're gonna get in the weeds here, going movies.
Yeah, we are. So I gotta, like I said,
you started with your bullshit top 5.
That is a completely different show. We could spend the entire show discussing our top 5 wrestling movies.
One day we're gonna.
We are, yeah. So okay. Anyways, second thing I wanted to hit on quickly is I did get a chance over the past week to watch the annual January 4th extravaganza from New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is the Wrestle Kingdom 18 card. First of all, I don't think there'll be a review coming from me about it on the channel, just because I floated out my match of the night poll out to people, and the results were, well, there wasn't any. So obviously the interest wasn't there. So the interest wasn't there, which is kind of the first thing in my mind. It's like, okay, if there's no engagement, then probably people don't want to talk about it. So all right. I did enjoy Danielson and Okada. They went one-on-one in the second match. Obviously, they are planning a trilogy with these. It'll be interesting to see what venue the third match takes foot in, or it takes place in. If it'll be All Elite Wrestling, or if it'll be New Japan's ring and that stuff. This was Danielson's first ever trip to Japan to wrestle under New Japan in the Tokyo Dome and go through that entire thing with New Japan. We also had what could have been the final New Japan Pro Wrestling appearances for Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay, because they are both committing full-time-ish to All Elite Wrestling in 2024. So we'll see what happens there. Dolph Ziggler, as I had predicted on the What's Next for Them episode that I did with you last fall, Mr.TL, after all the cuts, showed up in New Japan. So that's one prediction I got correct, over the past year. So yay. That's a victory. And then, what else happened? Not a whole lot else either. They've decided to put their belt on Tetsuya Naito. I don't know how long that's going to last with him, because he's kind of broken down at this point, but we'll see. So that's all I've got. I thought it was an enjoyable show. I think if I had to give it out of a 10, I'd give it maybe the entire evening, maybe a 6 out of 10. That's it. It took a while to get interested in the card, and then the big matches delivered, I thought. So yay.
Great update. Riveting.
Yeah, moving along. What you want us to say? Ain't nobody watch that shit.
I was expecting a question or something, but I guess not. All right. If you have questions on the classic card that we're going to talk about, or if any of the above or whatever, or how you too can become a pop vinyl figure, you can put that in the comment section wherever you're watching this as well, because we got comments now. They've added something, StreamYard has, that you can comment on Twitter. So if you're watching this through my Twitter account at Kellen Nitro, you can just, reply back to the video and it will show up in our stream. So there we go.
Nice.
That's a brand new thing for 2024. So, all right, it's classic card time. We go back to December 15th, 1995 for this one. Not a full WWF show. No, this is a co-presented card by the World Wrestling Federation and the Alberta government. What do you mean? I'll explain. This is Showdown at the Corral, a tribute to Stu Hart for his what was the 50th anniversary show, which again took place December 15th, 1995 at the Stampede Corral in Calgary, Alberta, held in honor of Stu Hart. The event featured, Stampede Wrestling alumni, and as well as talent from World Championship Wrestling and the World Wrestling Federation. What other notes do I have here? So, yes, this show is slightly infamous. And this is a little bit of the infamous cloud that I have that I was talking about prior to this, is that this was the show that Brian Pillman was running, copies of, or had just delivered copies of to the post office the day that he wrecked his Hummer and twisted his ankle around. And that ultimately was the beginning of his undoing back in 1996. So that's kind of a little bit of the infamous cloud over it, is that Brian was so proud of the show and the performance he had in his match that we'll talk about, that he wanted to run off copies of the show to send off to friends and family and that stuff and whatever. And he was not in a state to be driving at that time, and ended up wrecking the Hummer and turning his ankle around. And we all know the dark side of the ring story from there. So also, and I said Alberta government off the intro, here's some details on that. To this day, this is the only wrestling show, and this is from different sources that I have found. And I tend to do a little bit more digging on this as we go on. To this day, this is the only wrestling show partly funded by the Alberta provincial government, as Premier Ralph Klein at the time took some cash out of the infamous Alberta Heritage Fund to put this show on. So, Craig, you're the political here a little bit. What say you on the legendary / infamous honorable or dishonorable Premier Ralph Klein, depending on what side of the ledger that you're on?
Well, I grew up in a house that was not very favorable to former Premier Klein. Both my parents being teachers.
Yeah.
And he was infamous for cutting education, healthcare, and infrastructure. One of the reasons why our roads are crap. We were like 20 years behind our road construction, and healthcare and education problems. And of course, he was very, very good to the, production of oil and gas, but very primary industry here in Alberta, of course. But yeah, so I grew up in a very anti-Klein household, so I guess I'm biased. But the fact that he used taxpayer dollars to put on a wrestling show in a corral that smelled like horse crap, it's probably part of the course. So it's like, as soon as he came on screen, I was like, oh, fuck. I fast forward into his speech. That was me.
Did I get a still of old Ralphie here? No, I guess not. I don't know. We can, if for people outside of Alberta watching this, if you can envision, man, I don't just, here we go. Here's a still of the honorable Ralph Klein from the show giving the pre-show address.
Take that shit off the screen.
Yeah, so there we go.
We put a pie in his face, maybe.
I mean, it's pixelated, but you get what I was saying there. With that.
You just would have eaten it anyways.
Yeah. So the third thing, and this is kind of a wacky fact about this show, is also listed as, it's Stu Hart's birthday celebration. It's his 50th anniversary and everything. Guys, will you care to guess when Stu Hart's birthday actually is on the calendar?
I'm going to say it's something like October.
You'd be right, Craig, in that it's not December 15th, the day the show was.
I was going to say, they're like, you turned 80 this year. It's not your actual birthday, but you've turned 80 this year.
May 3rd.
May 3rd.
May 3rd.
Wow.
That's what were they really celebrating? His 80th year of life or his 50th year in the business?
I think it's more 50th year in the business, and that Stampede, quote unquote, never had a send off. As per se, it was just another territory that got gobbled up. But
book it as a tribute to Stu Hart. Say he turned 80 this year. It's a tribute to Stampede Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need to book it as.
Yeah.
Like you got Ralph being like, my uncle or my grandfather was Jack the Ripper Klein. You know, I'm like, shut up. What about you?
That's right. His brother.
Yes, his uncle was a referee / wrestler for Stu back in the golden days. So there we go.
We're here for Stu, not for you. But I mean,
so
a lot of the people there were probably pulling for him anyway.
Yes, yeah. So there we go. Yeah, I think I'd have to look and see where the elections were and that stuff. But this smells to me. Go out and try to buy votes by doing this. So
yeah, let's see here. I'll check that out while you continue.
Alberta provincial elections, was there one in 96? Because that would be the
ideal, kind of year.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going back. Sorry, bear with me.
No,
all I know is he got like a very cold reception. They didn't boo him, but they didn't really cheer him.
No,
nothing he really said got any form of a pop. They just wanted him to get the fuck out of there and get off the mic.
Yes.
So he had an election in 97. There was one in 93.
Okay.
So 2 years before and 2 years after. So this is right in the middle of a term.
Right in the middle when the preliminary polls start coming out and that stuff. And
in the 97 election, Klein gained 11 more seats than previous. So after this, so he did improve after this.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So be that as it may, there we go. The show. Well, first of all, we're going to explain our source here. Is we're watching a melt of the card that I made with all the matches because there is no existing copy of all the televised matches that exists, but there are 2 separate copies. So there's a copy that you can buy from a noted and infamous home video distributor, RF Video. That's the DVD copy that I have at the show, and online on YouTube is a copy of all the WWF affiliated matches from the card that are that's on YouTube as well. So what I did is I just made a giant melt of everything. I tried to put everything in as close to order as I can. I realized that one match is kind of out of order, but we'll address that when we get to it. It's not a big deal. So, but so the show opens with the familiar Stampede theme, shots of Stu and Ralph Klein and everybody signing autographs. And then we get into our first interview of the show, and it's Davey Boy Smith basically saying Stu is the man. And he says, plus I married his daughter, which I had to laugh at. There we go.
Marrying his daughter.
And then Razor Ramon. Yes, Razor's booked for this show. Cuts a promo and says it takes a lot for him to work on his day off, but Stu is the man. So there we go.
I don't know why. I actually remember seeing that promo as a kid because they aired it on like ITV.
They did, yeah.
I remember that promo.
This show preempted whatever the rebroadcast, I think at the time, of Monday Night Raw or Superstars or whatever ITV was showing at the time on Saturdays one weekend, and that's what it was the hour-long version of this show. So I remember that exactly. Yeah.
Back in the day, ITV would show a condensed version of Raw.
Yes. Yeah. They did.
So you get to see like the highlights of what happened back on Monday.
Yeah, exactly. Before we get into that, we got to do our tradition. It's Undertaker below. Craig is the Nitromaniac TV Undertaker with all the match times, news, notes, and everything from all the matches. There we go. So there are some matches that never made TV that are the absolute dark matches of this thing. I'll just quickly run through them. We have the Cuban Assassin and Jerry Morrow, 2 Stampede wrestling legends, defeating King Lau and Mike Anthony, who are 2 local Alberta talents and that stuff. King Lau wrestled for a couple of local promotions here in Edmonton, where I'm based at least, and where majority of us are, way back in like the 2000s and that stuff and everything. I don't know what happened to Mike Anthony or if that was really his gimmick name or real name or whatever. But that match ran 11:27, and then Dan Crawford wrestled his final match. He had retired in 1986, but this was his officially final match, defeating Jesse Helton in a what was it? It says no. It ends in a disqualification victory for Crawford. There we go. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So obviously some interference or something like that, and Crawford gets the victory. He was probably a little banged up from his years in the ring and that stuff. And they were like, "All right, everybody, run in and just attack this guy!" Yay! So that's how that one went. But let's see here. So we talked about that. Okay, our first time, and probably the only time on our podcast and on our streams and everything like that, that we'll address this guy as the play-by-play man, Ed Whalen. Gentlemen, your thoughts on Ed Whalen?
Go ahead, Craig.
I just thought the entire time, I was like, this is like old Brian Hall. Like, it's the equivalent. It's like, I'm like, where are you? Are you like just seemed lost sometimes? I didn't hear Ed Whalen in his prime.
No.
I mean, obviously that might have been a different story, but
he sounded the same.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, he just sounded tired and like kind of like there were half the time where he's like, "Oh, what's that guy doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean?"
So,
like I was working on some stuff as I was watching this. Watching this pay-per-view, so I kept kind of going back and forth, and there was like usually with JR and King, even with McMahon, even with obviously with Gorilla Monsoon, I can usually stay up to date with what's happening in the match, right? And I'm not usually behind. This particular instance, I had to like stop what I was doing and be like, I have to watch this because I can't. Where are you? Like I was hearing Brian Hall. There's like, and Eskimos snap throws. Me 2nd and 4 for the Eskimos now. You're like, what? He's just like, Honey Ramas. you're like, Brian, get off the mic.
I'll add to you at this time that Ed was still the main play-by-play voice for the Calgary Flames on their television broadcasts.
Well, that's why their team's so bad. They had Ed Whalen doing all those games all those years.
Yeah.
He would have been like back in the 90s, it would have like who they would have had? Like Ginla would have been a rookie. Maybe.
Yeah, he would have
been getting a stop and start kind of audio and
Darren
video
Fleury,
going on.
Gary Roberts. That's probably about it. I think Mike Vernon moves on to Detroit halfway through the decade. And, yeah,
I had a Mike Vernon Sharks jersey.
You did?
Wow. I like Sharks are my favorite animal, and I like the color scheme of the San Jose Sharks. Mm-hmm. And so I got a Mike Vernon goalie jersey. So when he went to the Sharks, I got a Mike Vernon jersey. And I remember going to an Oilers game, and there were some Calgary fans who were at the game for whatever reason. They were just around and got tickets. And they started like, I was like, I'm 8 years old, maybe not even. And they're like, how dare you get a Mike Vernon Sharks jersey? And I was just like a kid. I was like, why are you mad that I got a Sharks jersey with Mike Vernon on it? Like, I like Mike Vernon and the Sharks. It's but I mean, like Ed Whalen was just, I don't know, on commentary would have been like, and Mike Vernon made a save. Oh, they score! You're like, what?
Basically. Yeah, you're not far from it. Go ahead and do a YouTube deep dive one night on some classic Flames highlights from the 90s, and his voice is all over it. And yeah, he looks like he sounds like he's lost the call sometimes, and it's like, oh, come on.
Why would I do that to myself? Flames highlights? Flames highlights?
Well, Google a game where Toronto walks in and cleans them up 8-1 or something like that. I don't know.
Hey, Craig, if you watch some Flames highlights, you might actually see Doug Gilmour lift the Stanley Cup.
Oh,
that's really good. That's really good. I mean, again, pot meet kettle. You can bring up cups all you want, but it's like it's a drought no matter who you're busting here.
But you can fire back too, Craig, is that Gary Roberts didn't become immortal until he showed up in Toronto, and he played what a
What
good
the fuck are you
10
talking
years.
about?
He played a good 10 years after his neck injury that would have
years, right.
I don't paralyzed most people, I guess. So
Oh,
He
yeah.
still won a cup with Calgary and never.
yeah, but
Did he win again? Whatever.
he became the physical freak that influences one Connor McDavid to this day. So
Who cares? Anyways,
anyway, there we go. Your thoughts on Ed Whalen, Mr.TL? We got all at Craig's, but
yeah, it's an old voice of a bygone era. You'll never hear anybody sound like that ever again.
Yeah.
It's comical
it
now.
is. It
And
definitely
here
is.
comes Bret Hart, and wow, would you look at that? There's the pinfall, and this one's out. Like, what?
Yep.
Where's all the detail? None.
None. No, he doesn't know that.
He's just reacting along with the crowd, basically.
He is.
Except
Yeah.
he has a microphone.
There's at one point he seemed very surprised. I forget. I think it was the match with Benoit, where he actually said he actually punched him in the face, and I'm like, well, they are fighting. I can't believe he would punch him in the face. And I'm like, well, they're fighting in a match, so maybe that's what they'll
There
do.
we go.
I don't know if people know this, but wrestling's not real. And he had him right in the face.
I did hear him through parts of the show utter the words work and shoot, not in the same match and not in the same line, but a couple of times, basically asking maybe off camera, is this a work or a shoot? And then I think there was towards maybe even in right after that talking a Benoit match and that stuff is like, are they shooting here? What's so,
Ed Whalen breaking kayfabe before it was cool.
In 1995, yes. Fall of 95,
There you
early
go.
96, yes. So there we go. Yeah, so we've talked about Ed. We've talked about Premier Ralph Klein. He comes out to speak, says his dad was the wrestler ref. We talked about it. Says, we'll see Stu on his 100th. Yeah, nice try there, Ralph. You didn't even make it to his 100th. Stu didn't make it to his 100th. So, sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Pancake breakfast, say Ralph.
Oh man, it's like, yeah, good try there. I kind of cringe when he said that line. He kind of looked at it. It's like, we will see you at your 100th. It's like, no, you won't.
Didn't age well.
No, it did not. That's exactly it. And so Ed does his whole let's go another rendition Stampede Wrestling show. They ring the bell and then they fade to black. So again, the show was initially edited and that stuff for television consumption. So there are commercial break blacks and stuff like that throughout there. So we get back to what was our opening contest on the program, where we have the Gothic Knight out of Lethbridge taking on Muckam Singh. So this match itself runs, what's the runtime here? There it is, 11 minutes with Muckam Singh defeating the Gothic Knight. I tried to dig up as much as I can on the Gothic Knight. There's not a lot out there, shocking, that there is on this dude. He claimed to be, or there's stories out there that claim him to be at one time a WWF prospect, but you look up at his cage match profile and stuff like that, didn't really get anywhere and mostly wrestled Western Canadian indies. Retired back in fairly recently in 2016, but was involved with a promotion called Pure Power Wrestling in his hometown of Lethbridge. So obviously a promotion either that he runs or is closely involved with the organizers with and that stuff, that he's still involved with that. And I think Pure Power still exists today as one of the Alberta indies that a lot of the younger kids coming out of the various schools and that stuff, like Top Talent here in the city and the Clandestine Society and that stuff, and the ones down in Calgary, the Heart or whatever, the Dungeon Wrestling Academy in Calgary and that stuff are running to this day. So that's on his side. Now, Muckam Singh, Mike Shaw, is formerly Bastion Booger in the WWF, Norman the Lunatic in WCW, and he is fresh from his WWF run here. In fact, this is his first match, I think, in about over a year or so. And he was a classic heel for Stampede Wrestling back in the late 80s before he got his big break as Norman the Lunatic in WCW. I say big break, but he basically, as Muckam Singh, that was his run in pro wrestling, was as the upper card heel for the dying days of Stampede back in the late 80s, where he took on guys like Benoit and Owen Hart, and you count them going forward. And again, a master of cheap heat. If he goes to wrestle in Calgary and he's cutting a promo in Calgary, wear an Oilers jersey. If you come up to Edmonton, wear whoever the Oilers are playing in the playoffs.
Look how small that crest is on that man. On that big, fat, round, useless man.
That's actually a shot of Brad Marchand's father.
Yeah, and for comparison's sake, here's our Gothic Knight dude back when he first debuted back in
Craig.
So there we go. That's the Gothic Knight back in the day. So, like I said, this match runs 11 minutes. Jürgen Herman is the ref. Lance Storm has some good stories about Jürgen Herman. Go and listen to all of Lance's podcasts and stuff like that. And there's a few good ones about Jürgen Herman. The at the time West German ref, and then later on just the German ref. So there we go. This I have written down here for my match notes. This opener, in my opinion, is not very good. No idea who the big guy is with Muckam Singh is at ringside, but he interferes a few times. Yeah. So the commentary is so bad during the show that the manager that shows up alongside Muckam Singh in the opener, we never get his name, but he is heavily involved at times doing his best third-rate Bobby Heenan impression of trying to interfere in a match and that stuff. He kind of looks like a mini version of the one-man gang a little bit. It's just like it's just
waiting
it's
for you to bring this up, Kellen, because I know who
okay
that guy is.
Oh, you do?
It was my dad. No, I'm joking. I don't know who that is.
Swerve. Because he swerves when he drives, and he swerves and he drives.
This match was a snooze fest. It started, I was about to fall asleep. I mean, one of the funniest things of this match is like the muscle off, Gothic.
Oh God,
what is with that name, Gothic? Like that's just not a good.
I was going to come to you because he sounds like he's like a LARP dude at this point. It's like I am the Gothic.
That's not even a good LARP name. Like you can just use your own name. Like the guys that show up to game, and I'm like, "What's your name?" They're like, "I'm Grishnock," and I'm like, "Oh no, you're going to be too into this, and it's not going to go well." The best people who come in and they enjoy it, they just show up and they're like, I'm Ben. I'm like, what's your character's name? And they're like, Ben. I'm like, cool. You're in Ben. Low expectations, low bar. But like this guy, they do a couple like just a lot of like posing, and there's like, I mean, they're doing some like kind of like I guess just no non-bumping kind of moves and stuff, like exchanging like narrative, I guess. And then when Muckam Singh just rolls out of the ring and like walks away, like fat guy walks away and then just decides to stop and then turn around and walk back, I'm like, that was the biggest waste of 5 minutes of all time. And then he ends up winning, and I was like, and they killed the heat. Like if anything, I was like, I'm looking at this objectively as just a show, like how you would want to be entertained with it, completely forgetting about what the show is about, who's it's for, why it's a tribute to Stu. I mean, if I'm just watching this as my opener, I'm like, well, that was not a good way to kick off the show.
No,
like, that should not have been there.
No, and remember, this is in actuality the second match. People saw that the live audience would have saw the tag match with the Cuban Commandos versus the two local guys. So.
See, I'd rather just see that. Just show me that match.
Yeah. I don't. Again, this is like
you want to see that match?
I'd rather see.
Imagine something. They had a choice of which one to keep dark and which one to air, and they chose that one. Yeah. And you want to see the dark one? Can you imagine how bad that would be?
To be fair,
maybe they had bad deciding. Maybe there was a great match and they were like, I don't know, they wouldn't put the local guy on. Because at first when I saw one of the guys was from Lethbridge, I'm like, I guarantee you it's the fat guy. Because I've been to Lethbridge.
So you thought the guy with the body would have been the WCW ex-WWF guy, right?
Yeah. I was like, the guy that was like jacked out of his tree. I was like, oh, this guy looks like he would have maybe gotten some international work, but nope. I was wrong.
That's the other way around. Pro wrestling always keeping you guessing. Yes. That's what we got. So Singh gets the Muckham Singh. There's two Singhs on the show. Muckham Singh gets the 1-2-3 with the avalanche in the corner, and mercifully it ends. And it wasn't really you could tell that Gothic Knight didn't really have a lot of ring time or whatever ring time he has had weren't
green
with
as grass.
Yes, weren't with quality people. So there's quite the discrepancy between the indie guys and girls on this show and the polished WWF, WCW wrestlers that you'll see on the show too. It's wild. You can just basically pop that in and be like, okay, so that's why the people that are on TV are on TV. I get it.
What kind of polish did they use on him? Vaseline?
Will you stop? Now, as egregious as this match was, the next contest I thought was a little bit more kind of So it's the only women's contest on the card. It is Casey Houston, billed at 145 pounds from Edmonton, Alberta, taking on Rhonda Singh, who was Bertha Faye at this time in WWE. I think I got it. Where is the picture of her gimmick here? Did I not upload that? Anyway, whatever. Here we go. Here's the better shot. This is the shot of the kind of a black and white, but there you go. You get the idea of what was going on in ring at that time. The dude with the white shirt is a
referee.
The referee is a local sports announcer, Mike Lonsworth, a guy that worked with Ed Whalen at the channel that Ed was working with in Calgary, and this obviously was his first time ever working in professional wrestling, because he is useless as well.
It's about as useless as a cock flavored lollipop.
Tits on a bowl, just he's just in the way of everything. It is just like, and Casey Houston and Monster Ripper / Bertha Faye / Rhonda Singh had some pretty good matches in Western Canada in the late 80s, early 90s. Rhonda had at this time moved up, like I said, to WWF. At this time, she was also nearing the end of the WWF run. She would leave when the rest of the All Japan women would go back to All Japan at the end of 95, early 96. And she would work in All Japan until 2000, when WCW signed her to be the main squeeze of one Mike Awesome, when Mike Awesome was doing the fat chick thriller gimmick in 2000. So that's her trajectory of career and that stuff. Casey Houston, again, just wrestled out of Western Canada a lot of times.
I know this one.
Yes.
They pulled her out of a mall that she used to work at a Reitman's, and they threw her in this match.
Actually, I think she trained with the Hart. She was a legit trained athlete by the Harts. Actually, both of them are. It's just they couldn't get anything going because the referee has to be
which Hart?
Part of
Tito?
Tito Hart. See, I am Tito Hart.
It's a Tito Jackson reference.
Yes, I get it. Yeah.
Do you though? Yeah, you get it, because Tito Jackson wasn't as famous as Michael or Jermaine, and
so. But this match, like I said, like I was explaining before, you can tell which talent is the polished WWE pro and the weekend indie warrior here. Double clothesline, both women are down. Lonsworth doesn't even start a standing count. Nobody prepped this guy at all. No, he's just kind of just standing there with his hands in his pocket. To finish this thing, Casey attempts a roll up, but Rhonda nails the whoopee cushion pin for the 1-2-3 count. But even when that happens, she hits that, and you can hear her kind of mouth count And then the second time around, it's count like that. Like she's yelling at the ref to put the count in. And then even then he's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, hey, you know, ring the bell, whatever. It's not very impressive at all. I wrote down, I'd run this one back with a proper indie ref, make the sports guy, I guess, timekeeper or color analyst or something. So that's all I got on that.
From what I understand, like referees in pro wrestling, like they in many ways relay comments, like if they have earpiece, they relay comments from back to the wrestlers. They also time check them. You know, they'll say like they'll even like to in some respects, if even if like you have two pros in there like that know what they're doing, like if it's like Undertaker, Triple H, the ref will still say something like, "All right, guys, let's go to the finish," you know, or something like that. Like depending on the time. Yeah, they're very much so kind of in there helping control that pace of that match. So in many ways for wrestlers, but I mean, let's face it, you go get dropped on your head, take a bad move, and you're like Kurt Angle on that one pay-per-view that Triple H has that interview where he's like, Kurt was out. And like Stephanie's like, he's coming to the ring, and Vince says he's coming out, and then like he doesn't even know where he is, and they had to like guide him for the rest of the match. Like having a referee there to like help kind of position you, like it's very important. So I think you had at least one really like one pro wrestler. I was gonna say Ronda Singh, like I thought she had some great heel moments. Like she had some of the great big, you know, beastie heel moments and like the big slam screams and
she's one of the girls right now at this time in WWF in 95, late 95, that's feuding with our girl Medusa, FK Lunger Blaze over that title. And like I said, as soon as Vince ditches this women's division in WWF, she's right. Ronda's going with the rest of them back to Japan to All Japan Women, which if you ever get a chance to check that out on YouTube and that stuff, that is not a slouch of a promotion. Every match on an All Japan Women's card is a banger. Like it's insane the work rate those girls had back in the 90s, especially during the 90s, during that time. You know, maybe don't try to sit and watch that entire 11-hour Tokyo Ig Dome show in one sitting, but you know, there's still a lot of great matches on there for a week of wrestling if you wanted to split it up, right? But it's a you know, they're quality workers. Like, and even Casey Houston herself at this point is a quality worker because she's a veteran of Western Canada Ring Wars at this time and that stuff. Like, you know, this got about a good 6 or 7 years under her belt, but the ref can't communicate anything because the ref doesn't know what's happening. They basically he showed up at the building and it's like, oh, you're a local celebrity. Okay, you're the ref. Go.
Yeah, I think
they'll tell you what you need to do.
If anything, this match, I was gonna say, if anything, this match is a testament to how important referees are in pro wrestling. Yes. And what happens if you don't have a good one in there on a stage like that? Yeah.
And I mean, there was plenty of refs there. That's the thing. You have basically Stampede's entire allotment of referees. You have a entire alumni of retired wrestlers also standing around doing nothing for this whole, you know, let's honor Stu thing. Why not get one of them? Why not get Angelo Mosca in frickin' referee shirts and that stuff? Because he's guest refed before. Put him in there. The crowd would have loved that.
Yeah, I didn't even know Angelo Mosca was a wrestler. I thought he was just a football player.
I thought he was the guy fighting with Joe Cap back in the day on the stage at the Great
Both
Cup
are correct.
We'll get to that a little later on. Yes, but yeah, there we go. Anything to add here, Mr. TL, with this?
Yeah, I'd like to reenact me watching this match.
All right.
Hot sauce. Yes.
This is so much better than watching this fucking match.
So
that was
if you a little bit.
That was me watching this match.
Yeah, there we go. All right. At least I had constructive criticism. All right.
How is it constructive? It's 30 years later. They're all dead.
I don't think Lonsworth or Casey Houston are past. I think they're both still.
Oh, just their careers. Never mind.
Yeah, I was going to say they're moved on. Ronda Singh unfortunately passed away, I think, in the 2000s or so, something like that. I can't remember exactly the date, but she's no longer with us, so sadly. All right. We have some controversy coming up next here because coming up next is the advertised WWF versus WCW bout. Now, if you look back on the history books during the Monday Night War era, this event is indeed the first time that a WWF contracted wrestler took on a WCW contracted wrestler at a quote unquote independent show. This is the first time ever that we see in it. There's no dates before then that would have said otherwise or whatever.
Are you sure?
That's I've done some digging on it and that stuff, and there's nothing earlier than 12/15/95 that I can find out there that would connect up to it during the Monday Night War era. So don't forget. So you look at the Monday Night War era as starting what? Labor Day 1995, basically, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So yeah. So that onto March 26, 2001, when WCW folded. That's the end of the Monday Night Wars. This is the first meeting of a WWF contracted wrestler versus a WCW contracted wrestler. Now, are these the two people that both companies had initially had booked to meet each other? No. But this is what we got. Initially, this was supposed to be Chris Benoit versus the 1-2-3 Kid. I don't know what happened that instituted that Radford, FKA Louis Spicoli, had to get in or be flown up to get involved, or he was just coming along with the rest of the WWF talent, and there's like, okay, you're booked, let's go. Or maybe he had another opponent in mind for Louis Spicoli, and that was it. I can't find any information on it. All I know is that the original match and all of the stuff leading up to the show that was advertising was it was going to be 1-2-3 Kid versus Chris Benoit in this match. What we got was Radford, Louis Spicoli versus Chris Benoit one-on-one in this contest. And this match ran 11 minutes and 28 seconds. And yes, there is a world of difference in this match compared to the first two we've seen versus two seasoned professionals in the ring and two professionals that are top notch. Of course, Louis Spicoli at this time had just got into WWF doing Vince wanted a grunge guy. And so he got a grunge guy gimmick with the Radford thing. So because, grunge music is cool to kids, so we have to have a guy that listens to grunge music to be cool. And Benoit, of course, was, the latest signee to WCW as they were building that cruiserweight division. And so they were using him in high work rate matches with Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, so on and so forth. And this is before the Horseman push or run, just maybe a little bit before, because I think he joins up with the Horseman in January of 96, I think, something like that. So just prior to before then. So that's it.
Wasn't Chris Benoit in this match? Wasn't he wearing his tights for the Pegasus Kid gimmick?
Yes. Yeah, his
Pegasus.
His ECW tights, which are the blue ones with the big ass silver star on the back. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can always tell the Stampede guys in old tapes and that stuff, Craig, because all of them have stars on their tights in some sort of arrangement. It's one giant star on the ass or 3 stars or whatever. Yeah, it was whoever made the tights in Calgary like putting stars on their tights. So there we go. That's why Brett has stars on his tights.
Interesting.
Because it's a Stampede thing. Yeah, Stampede guys always have stars. That's why there's stars on his shirt. They have stars. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So CM Punk ripped off Stampede Wrestling.
He ripped off Bret Hart.
Those stars are on the Chicago flag.
Oh, yeah, but the Chicago flag ripped off Stampede Wrestling.
The Chicago flag has 6-pointed stars, not 5.
Ripped off Stampede Wrestling.
For God's sakes. Here, have some Tabasco. All right?
A little shot of Tabasco there.
I'm going to keep it right here because we might need that a little later.
Oh, maybe a little bit. But yeah, so we have Wayne Hart, the referee, who is one of the Hart brothers. He was the Hart brother that reffed all the time, and he was one of the officials in Stampede. Some excellent chain wrestling in this match. It's cool watching two technicians not bound by their promotional styles here. Yes, because don't forget, WWF has the gimmick style going on at this time. WCW kind of sort of starting to fall towards that way a little bit because, you know, of the Hogan influence and trying to be, they're still in 95 trying to be kind of WWF light, but they're doing different things for just a television presentation, not so much the in-ring stuff.
The NWO didn't hit yet, and WCW was irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. They haven't found their way yet, quote unquote. And the crowd is kind of getting bored with the mat work in this one. At times, you could hear the crowd just kind of booing or saying boring. There was a big belly to back suplex by Benoit that only nets a 2 count. The finish of this thing, superplex by Benoit, and the refs gives a free count, but Radford either botched and kicked out or was supposed to kind of struggle a bit and oversold. Either way, it looks like it's only a 2, and the ref is awarding the bout to Benoit anyways because of time. That's what I have written down.
I think that was a merciful 3 count by the ref to be like, all right, get this shit over with. We're done. Go home. We're finished. All right. Oh, wait a minute. I think he's got the 3 count. Yeah, that's it. That's the match.
Basically.
Chris Benoit from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Yeah.
One of the great graduates of the Heart Dungeon.
It's pretty much how it went.
About the only thing missing in this match was Ed Whalen giving us a dissertation on grunge music and about, oh, that's Radford listening to that popular music that all the youngins listen to today. What's it? That Nirvana? That Pearl Jam?
Rock music, but nobody's happy.
I mean, it's a better match than what we've seen, so the quality's getting up.
Yeah, that's not a high bar. At this point, I was so angry at you. I was so angry. I was like, why the fuck did you choose this? This stupid fucking event with this. Somebody taped this thing on a VHS camcorder from Radio Shack.
And it got edited.
There's no lights. There's no atmosphere. There's no production value. This made ECW look like it was a Saudi Arabia production. Good Lord.
Now you said at this point, I want to see what point in the show it turns. So, but anyway,
it never does.
Oh, okay.
This whole event was dog shit.
Fraser.
Yeah, I don't know. This wasn't the best match. I mean,
no.
It you know, I mean, obviously Benoit was a very talented wrestler.
Yeah.
At the time, you know, despite what we all know, but I mean,
yeah, what happens later, obviously.
What happens later, but I mean, like,
this is still kind of babyish Benoit a little bit, where he's just trying to find his way.
If somebody told me he'd kill his wife and kids, I wouldn't believe you.
Thankfully, Ed was dead by the time that Benoit stuff happened.
How do you think I got there? Chris Benoit. Sorry.
Yeah, this wasn't that great.
Function at the junction. Okay, well, shall we move on?
I don't know. There's just this working bit in my brain of that referee from the girls' match was at Whalen's house and he couldn't count the 3 drop arm, and Chris Benoit just finished. Never mind. Never mind.
Yikes.
Let's move on.
That is unreal. No, I mean, if you are.
Oh, we starting this year off dark, baby.
Super dark. Remember, this was supposed to be the December show, but nobody's scheduled.
Yeah, I'm glad we moved it to this year so we could start dark and just kind of get better as we go.
All right. Well, the next contest on the card is the match that the 1-2-3 Kid actually ended up in. So I wonder if he had prepared for Benoit and that stuff and whatever, and then flew up to Calgary and then was like, nope, you're working this guy instead. It's Keith Hart taking on the 1-2-3 Kid in a one-on-one contest of down. Yes, Virginia, this match did happen. Keith Hart was a star for Stampede for many years. He retired in 1989, came out of retirement in 1993 for that year's Survivor Series, because don't forget there was the Hart family versus the Knights elimination tag match at the 93 Survivor Series at the Boston Garden, and was wrestling a part-time schedule. The 1-2-3 Kid had just turned heel the month prior at the Go Home to Survivor Series, selling out to the $1 Million Corporation and starting a feud with one Razor Ramon. So that is kind of an underlying theme to this show, is the Kid's heel turn is still kind of hot at this time. And so with or without, Ted DiBiase in his corner, whatever, Ted obviously not on this show, it's kind of got the heel vibes going. And I think that this was part of the reason why he made the trip up to Calgary along with Fraser was, obviously invited to wrestle in front of Stu Hart. That's a huge deal. And B, you get a chance to work on the heel shtick a little bit. Why not, right? Why not?
I was so confused because I always remember the 1-2-3 Kid being a good guy, and him being a heel really threw me off. And I was like, I don't remember him being a heel until WCW when he was 6 as part of the NWO.
Yeah, this was his first real heel run of any substantial length of time. This culminates in February, I should say, at the In Your House in Louisville in February, in the first ever baby diaper match between him and Razor Ramon. Legit, that happens.
Correct me, because I'm not sure of the timeline then. So X-Pac went to, he was 1-2-3 Kid, and then he went to WCW first and went to NWO and then went to DX.
Yeah, he was the 6th member of the NWO. That's why he was 6 in WCW.
I always thought because 1 + 2 + 3 = 6.
No, he was the 6th guy at that point.
Well,
that's what it was. That's why it was the 6th. So he's just the 6th guy in the group.
Okay.
Man, this is why WCW lost.
I'm the 6th guy, so I'll be 6.
Yes.
That sounds great, brother. When you come out there, make sure that you take a dive so I can get you the leg drop, brother. And then I'll get the W because I'm the Hulkster. Sound good? Otherwise, I'm not going out to the ring.
That's right. Get somebody else.
But wait a minute. Who was the 6th member of the NWO?
Let me tell you,
6.
It's 6. It's the 6th guy.
I've been up and down the United States, brother. I've been saying my prayers, eating my vitamins, brother. And I can tell you that the 6th man of the NWO, he's going to blow your socks off, brother. And he is 6. That is his name, brother. I can tell you that straight up. Say your prayers, eat your vitamins, or say your vitamins, eat your prayers. And believe in yourself, brother.
Is that like tip the veal, try your waitress? Is that what that is?
Nice. That's hilarious. Tip your veal, try your waitress. That's
The
fun.
1-2-3 Kid using Lover Boys. The Kid is Hot Tonight as his entrance music. They kind of
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, I had to play it back a couple of times, and it's like, yeah, that's Lover Boy playing in the background. So there we go. Jim Baker, the ref, not the televangelist, but the referee, Jim Baker. Spelled the name the same, so there we go. Both men are working the faster-paced junior heavyweight style. Stampede would do that sometimes too. If there was a popular thing happening in pop culture at the time or news and that stuff, they would name a referee after said person. So there's a Jim Baker ref. There was several, right? So there we go. I think because
we got a new referee here at Stampede Wrestling. His name is Ed Bundy.
Yes, exactly.
I have our new
Flair, you're the referee.
Our new ref coming in this year. His name is Jeffrey Epstein. There we go.
Ronald Trump, your referee. Ronald
Trump. That's funny.
All it does, Stone Cold, tell you something, son. I don't care if you're worth $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion, $4 billion, $5 billion, $6 billion, $7 billion.
What?
Come in this ring with your ass. I'll tell you, don't piss me off.
Don't
ruffle my feathers.
What?
Oh my, here he comes. It's R.J. Simpson.
Well, thank you for can't do it. Can't do it.
Was that Paul Stanley? What was that?
No, that was. It started off good with the well.
Well, OJ,
I'm gonna
can't
tell
do
you right now. Well,
I could do like if there was like a referee named Jay-Z, just be like Brooklyn,
Jay-Z.
you know, like
Jay said.
the kick back,
It's
roll up
Canadian.
your shoulder. Yep. Might go
I hate that.
Beyonce's in the crowd. Brooklyn.
You've been doing this for over 10 years, and I always hate it, but I enjoy it because it's so bad.
Me's bad impressions.
I love it, dude, just because the Jay-Z Linkin Park Collision Course CD was like my go-to CD at one time back in the day to listen to.
I want to say something.
That was
I
good.
hate that version of Encore so goddamn much.
Oh yeah,
Compared to the
Encore.
original, because the original was produced by Kanye West, and the
Yeah,
original Encore is so iconic.
yes.
And the Linkin Park one, oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. Every time I hear that, I just get bummed out because I'm like, play the original.
Right.
And they never do.
Oh yeah. Crazy. So
Where are we? What are we doing?
oh.
Xbox sucks.
Yeah. Well, we finally get a second camera angle in this match for a bit. Keith takes a nasty bump to the outside, and the plancha by the kid to the outside gets a huge ovation from the crowd. Like, oh, like that. Keith goes for the figure four, but the kid rolls up Keith Hart for the 1-2-3.
Holding the
And
tights.
That's it. The runtime for that match, yeah, the dirty pin. So he's getting that heel shtick over in this thing, no matter what. 6 minutes and 37 seconds for that match, and yeah, so there we go. And then we go and we cut to a Calgary tradition. If they get a VIP in Calgary, this is what they do. They give them a white hat, and they gave Stu a white hat.
Well,
So if you're important, you get a white hat.
Give me a white cowboy hat. Now I'm a rhinestone cowboy. Like everybody wanted me to be there. Thank
There
you
we
for
go.
giving me this hat.
Fucking Calgary. I mean, we're the Cowboys. No, you're not. No, you are not. You just live in an area that's flat and gross, and it's the only thing you have for your identity, and so you just run the piss out of it.
Yep.
And there's just as many Cowboys up here than there are down there. But this is your own bull crap. I'm coming to your airport. You're all wearing cowboy hats. I'm going to smack them off your greeters' heads. I don't care if they're an old lady. Hey,
I will say this though. I'd rather fly out of Calgary than Toronto. Because
I've
airports,
never been.
airport-wise.
I've never been to Pearson, but apparently it's just busy as hell.
It's a
massive.
nightmare.
Yeah,
Pearson's
so
a nightmare. Never fly out of Pearson. If you have to go fly directly out of somewhere, fly out of Calgary.
When Bailey and I go to Scotland in May, we fly down to the Calgary and then we go direct to Edinburgh from Calgary.
Right
so.
on. Yeah, that's good.
Nice.
Dave, it's a newer airport now too because they did a bunch of renovations. I think 8 years ago or something like that. So it's nice and wide and it's easy to get around. So.
Be careful, Craig. They might keep you.
In Edinburgh or Calgary?
Yeah, Edinburgh.
Oh, okay.
You're just the last piece that's missing before they can attack the English again, take back their land.
We're gonna go to the Culloden Fields at one point when we're going up to the north to where my grandfather was from in Nairn. And I fully intended to go to Culloden more and see the Fraser cairn. There's a giant stone. They have stones with all the clan names etched on where all the different clans fought. And there's the one with Fraser on it. So I'm gonna go to that, like Gimli when he goes to Balin's tomb in Lord of the Rings, and I'm gonna just be like, no, and just like grab onto the stone, and then they're like, Craig, I think the English are coming. I'll be like, let them come. There's still one Fraser on Culloden more than Charles breath. The bastard.
It's just triggered over. It just flips on.
I told you, they gonna keep them.
This like English tourist. He's like, I love Culloden more. I'll be like, I'll rip your spine from your body. You daft English poop.
He's gonna fly there in a normal airplane, and they're gonna fly him back in like the cargo hold in like the Tasmanian Devil.
Speaking of Tasmanian Devil, have we done that character from way back when? Have we done that here yet?
The Taz.
No. It's where I would turn the dial. I mean, he would go from a very flaming hairdresser into a Scottish demon.
No, we've done that before. We did that before.
Have we done that?
Maybe.
I think you'd remember, Kellen, if you'd seen that one.
Yeah, I vaguely, maybe, I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm gonna be so intense the whole time. Like he'll just be like this nice English guy, be like, "Can you take a picture of me and my wife?" And I'll be like, "I'm not feel done. I red with English blood."
Hey, they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, does he work here? What's going on?"
Like, nope,
He's so in character here.
He's so in character. It's like crazy.
He hasn't showered in days.
I really feel like my arm is getting hacked off by a battle axe. What's going on here?
I'll just be there and I'll just be like, no, I'm just a Canadian lad who's been fed Scottish history since he was a young boy.
Oh boy.
Actually, I fully intend to be like, just when I go, I'm not even gonna mention the heritage. It's gonna be very hard, but I'm just there for taking a little piece of it myself, because I'm that people do that all the, like I try to think about it how it would be like if I was in a bar with a bunch of my friends and then this guy came in from Australia and he's like, "Oh, I'm Canadian too, mate." And I'd be like, "What?" "Yeah, my mother was Canadian, and so I've finally come here to Canada, and I love it. I'm Canadian." I'd be like, "All right." Like, good for you. So it's like when I'm going over there, I'm just gonna be like, I'm Canadian and I want to see Scotland, but for inside my brain, I will be I'll be enjoying it.
It ain't happening.
Nope.
It is not happening. As soon as you touch ground in Scotland, the bagpipes will flare, the kilts will be worn, and all of a sudden, all of your heritage is going to culminate into this big cloud above you as you return to the homeland. And it's just going to be like a sword, a broadsword comes out of nowhere, and you're just like ready to go.
Roddy Piper on like 500%.
That'll be happening in my brain, but it won't be happening. on the outside,
the more you...
No, I will be gay. I'll be good. I'll behave. We're also going to Ireland too, so I'll check that out.
Ah, yes, there we go. I mean, just watch out for the IRA bombings, and you should be good. But
whoa,
well, I'm on their side anyway.
Okay, good, right on. Good.
You're fine. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not an Ulster.
Whatever you do, don't put your arms in the air. You're too big for that.
Yeah.
The size of that fucking guy.
Yeah. Why is he flailing around like Kermit the Frog? I don't get it.
I'll just start singing "Zombie" by the Cranberries. And their guns, and their bombs, and their bombs, and their guns in your head, in your head. They'll be fighting. And they'll be like, "That's guy's all right."
He's the biggest cultural unifier since Bono.
That's all we need to solve the troubles is me.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
Canada. Well, after the white hat ceremony, we got tributes to Stu from some wrestlers. Muck Sig's the first tribute, and he's talking and stuff. He's kind of touching what Muck has to say.
Oh my lord.
He's kind of,
oh God, take that off the screen.
So there's that. I got him down as kind of a John Belushi type, says if he ever opens up, if Stu ever reopens up, he'd be back here tomorrow. I think he was sincere in that too, because that was like, Stampede was his biggest run ever in wrestling. Was, he was an upper card heel up here. So, it's crazy.
Yeah, and he hasn't had a job since.
Yeah, so he's being sincere about it. That
was the last time he had a hot meal in a shower.
Yeah. So some of the other old greats talk here too, where we got Tor Kamada talking, Dan Crawford, Les Fortin, whose claim to fame was he was the first ever tag team partner of one Mick Foley back in the
I fast forwarded all of this.
Angelo Mosca.
all of this.
So anyway, the whole Angelo Mosca thing, this is him in 1995 and that stuff too. Have you guys ever seen the Angelo Mosca Joe Cap fight from the Grey Cup dinner back in 2011?
This was great. I love
this. It was awesome.
They still hated each other.
Yeah.
It's so perfect.
Well, didn't help that he came with flowers and like wiggled it in front of his nose.
There you go. Hey, Mosca.
Well, he took the flowers and then he paintbrushed Mosca with the flowers and gave it to him, and Mosca just went and fired it right back at him, right? And that's stuff, and then they just went at it. It was crazy.
I was gonna say Mosca, because he wrestled while he also played football.
Yes,
that's insane.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That was back in the 60s when you can get away with that type of stuff. 60s and early 70s. Yeah, so he was a big time getting like he was one of the highest paid players in the CFL back in the 60s and 70s with Hamilton. He's a Tiger Cat.
He's the original Logan Paul.
Yeah, and he was just maybe not in that sort of influential way, but right?
Well, he's like Angelo. Like obviously we have Warren Moon who won 5 in a row.
Yes,
Angelo Mosca won 5 with the Tiger Cats. I think
he did. Yeah.
He's there like Warren Moon, but he's a defensive tackle. Like, he was a beast. But my dad, I remember saying he was like his persona in wrestling was the exact same thing that it was on the field. Like he was this tough, trash talking, like I'm gonna fuck all you up. So like Joe Cap probably is like always was trying to be like the good guy, gunslinging cowboy, and Angelo Mosca was just the heel that just like Joe Cap just like whatever Mosca trash talk, whatever promos he was cutting on the football field obviously bothered Joe Cap to the point where he saw him all these years later and was like, I'm gonna fuck this guy up. I'm gonna throw flowers in his face. And Mosca
was catalyst because the initial fight was over something that happened, I think, at like the 51 Grey Cup between the two of them or something like that, or 61 Grey Cup. Like that was it was a grudge that lasted like a good 30 or 40 years. Like both guys carried this grudge to their grave because Mosca passed away, I think, a handful of years ago or so, and Joe Cap passed away in 2016. So, and to their dying day, they never made up or anything over it. And that's like that is old school leatherhead football right there. I hate you, and I will rip you apart. Oh yeah, well, And then at the end of the day, I hate that guy.
Cap got the last word in. With that right hand, he dropped him.
He dropped them, but to this day, if you go to that comment section on YouTube, there's a whole bunch of things like, oh, if Angelo didn't have his cane, he'd fire back and that stuff. And both sides are still going at it because it was Hamilton, Tiger Cats with Mosca, Winnipeg Blue Bombers with Joe Cap, I believe.
Was the Bombers
so that's the two. I think it's the Bombers. Yes.
Oh, because because you know what it was. I think Mosca beat with the Tiger Cats. They beat in 62. Yeah. I think they beat the Bombers with Cap.
They beat the Bombers, One guy almost died during the game on a hit or something like that. It was an illegal hit that happened, and they were the Bombers obviously weren't happy with it and that stuff, and it was touch and go for the fella that got flattened, I guess. So
Joe Cap did win the blow-off match, but he went to the BC Lions, and he won with the BC Lions in 64, and they beat Mosca and the Tiger Cats.
There we go. I could be wrong too. He could have been with BC the entire time, but that's I think it was a Hamilton Winnipeg thing, and then they went and they met up with later on down the line too. So but that's one of the storied Canadian football rivalries. Just
I like this. Anything to not talk about this wrestling event.
You don't want to talk about Ralph Klein's one-on-one with talking about Stu and how he's a great guy. No,
I went right past that. I was like,
past that. All right, great. Semi-main event time. It is the tag team war where we have the Funk brothers, Dory and Terry Funk, taking on Bad Company with 1D, Bruce Hart and Brian Pillman. You can always tell with the territory stuff, the two Bad Company teams, the AWA Bad Company, which featured Diamond Dallas Page, had 2 Ds on them, and the Stampede Bad Company had 1D. So there we go. So, yes.
Did we miss a match?
No.
Nope.
I swear there was a match before the tag match.
No, that's the match before the tag match was 1-2-3 Kid and Keith Hart.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what I did, unfortunately, when I put the video together and that stuff, is that I flip-flopped. The original order of the card is I flip-flopped these 2 matches with Razor Ramon, or the Intercontinental title match was next on the card, but the tag match was next on the video, the initial video. So I put the tag match before the Intercontinental title match, and then so that's what it is. So a quick flip flop if you're wondering what the actual card laid out as or whatever. But
because I'm not gonna lie, I watched both. I watched the copy you sent us, and this morning I went back and watched it on YouTube.
Yes,
because I needed a refresher.
Right,
and so it was in the opposite order.
So you saw the 1 hour television special that aired then.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I watched the Owen match first and then the tag team match.
Yes.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, this took me 7 attempts to watch this completely through.
Ooh.
Not this match, but this whole event. I kept falling asleep every time I try this. I'd be in a match and I'd fall asleep.
Just put me to sleep.
Oh my God, this was the most difficult one ever to get through. Even this morning, I fell asleep watching it again.
Well, now you know what to throw on when you can't fall asleep.
I was going to say, this is better than melatonin.
Not so. Anyways, go back to the weird theme music continues here because Bad Company walks out to Heartache Tonight by the Eagles, and the Funk Brothers walked out to Desperado by the Eagles. So somebody stuck in the Eagles' greatest hits CD for this match.
It's probably my father-in-law who loves the Eagles. He's probably there. He's like, you guys should play the Eagles.
I mean, I could stomach them in very small dosages. The Eagles. I kind of like their stuff, but the problem is I can't handle it too much of them. It's like, okay, so
why? What they do to you?
If somebody puts on Hotel California, I slowly stand up. I walk over to a hard inanimate object and I kind of like examine it for a bit, very calmly, and then I just walk over to the Wonder Boom or whatever they're playing the music out of, and I smash it.
Beating. Yeah.
Why? What? White people don't like this song?
I can't stand the Eagle.
The only
why would they do?
The only thing why I could stomach Hotel California is it's an 8-minute song, and when you work in commercial radio and that stuff, you learn to love the 8 minutes that you get from that. So it's like, okay, put it on, and then leave the room. So go do your business. It's a perfect pee break song. So
I don't know. This particular match, I was excited at first. I was like, Brian Pillman. Yeah. I don't know much about Bruce Hart, was it? No.
Yes, Bruce Hart. Yes.
Bruce
so
Hart.
he is he is Bret Hart's older brother, I believe. Here's the fun fact: is I was looking up his to try to find his retirement date online, that stuff, and everything for his last match. He never really retired, so this is still listed as an active competitor, which I think is a little bonk and wild, but whatever. He was always chasing that WWE contract, so. Yeah, there we go.
When was the last time he wrestled?
The last time he was involved in something mainstream was he was ringside in 2010 at WrestleMania when Bret Hart had that match with Mr. McMahon.
Yeah, but everybody was from the Hart family.
Yeah,
I mean, when did he actually wrestle last?
When did he actually wrestle last? I had hits on there from 2004, so I'm assuming that's probably it. So
yeah, that's now. Because it's 2024, 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
He's been retired for 20 years.
For 20 years, yes.
So give me this bullshit. Older than Brett, and he's still wrestling. My ass.
Pillman is in WCW at the time. This is, again, a few months. Well, he might have just he had just started hanging out with Ric Flair and Arn Anderson in the Four Horsemen. So this is a few months before the Loose Cannon Brian Pillman stuff.
He's already done with the Hollywood Blondes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. This is post he has kicked Ric Flair in the head at Fall Brawl, and he is joined up with Arn Anderson, and then when Arn Anderson rejoins Ric Flair, he brings Pillman along with him as like the third horseman. Benoit joins as the fourth one coming up. So
you know what it is that Pillman joined up with the Horseman. And he knows the man. To be the man, you gotta beat the man. And so when Pillman came to WCW, he said to me,
I sound more like Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm not going to tell you what you sound like because it's going to ruin it in your brain forever.
Go ahead.
You sound like Homer Simpson with a swollen tongue.
That's funny.
The big man, you got a big man.
Woo! Terry is establishing ECW at the time, and Dory is running the Funkin' Dojo on the WWE side of things, or WWF side of things at that time. And all I could think of in the early bits of this match is, what did Terry Funk ever do to Ed Whalen? Because Ed Whalen doesn't have a nice thing to say about Terry at all, about anything. Like, did he steal from some money, or what's going on?
I was back in a Humpty's diner, and he dined and dashed, and I was sitting there with the hash browns and a cigarette, and that Terry's in the car.
You're taking the Bret Hart commercial from the late 90s, early 2000s, and turning it to life, aren't you?
A little.
Yeah, because there's a Bret Hart Humpty's commercial that's available on YouTube and that stuff with Ed Whalen as the
Ed
referee.
Whalen
It's
is
hilarious.
the commentator on that, and the referee between Humpty and Bret Hart.
Yeah.
No, but I was back in the diner, and Terry Funk, he's got me sitting there with some toast and some egg whites and some hash browns, and wouldn't you know it, I see the high beams turn on, and he's rolling out of the parking lot.
He dying.
I'm stuck with the bill.
Uh-huh.
Next door was Brian Hall. Turn on
This match runs 18 minutes and 19 seconds. I thought there was a no decision, but I'm looking at all the records and that stuff, and it was ended up being a disqualification victory for Bad Company over the Funks. Basically, it starts off as a match with the Funks in control, and then it just kind of degrades into like a brawl. It's not not even a hardcore brawl. It's just more like a this is a kind of I guess like a staged Western brawl a little bit.
Yeah, they just kind of fought off.
They kind of fought off there, and that's there's the table goes bye that Ed is sitting at and that stuff, and Ed's all heartbroken because his table's gone and stuff. And
I've had that table since 1953.
Yeah, and so I think watching this and that stuff, and I think that the in-ring match quality for 1995 for performers is drastically different than it was back in 2023, because I'm thinking, okay, Brian, you were proud of this match? What's going on here? So
he got to work with the Funks.
Okay, hey, there we go. That's good enough, I guess. So that the two legendary dudes, yeah, absolutely, right? So absolutely, yeah. I
always kind of found it weird that like Terry looked like this like outlaw cowboy, what do you call those guys?
Like
Desperado looking dude?
Yeah, like a bandit or something. Yeah.
Yeah, bandit. There we go. He looks like a bandit.
Yeah.
And Dory just kind of looks like Harley Race with a haircut. It was really such an interesting look between the two. They don't look like brothers.
Yeah, they definitely don't. Yeah, it's just like it's weird how non brotherly looking they look like. They look like two different people. It's crazy. So
yeah,
but yeah. So post match anyway, the fight continues. Both Pillman and Bruce are busted open. Pillman body slams Dory on the outside to a huge pop. I think he body slams Dory through a table on the outside because I hear a crash. The problem is there's not a camera on that side to catch it because there's only one camera and it's not on the camera side of the broadcast, so you can't tell what's going on. Terry confronts the ref backstage with some F-bombs, and it's amazing. So I love that. I love the banter of crazy Terry Funk just yelling at the ref. It was great.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then the fun that really set me in stitches was, so Pillman and Bruce are walking in the back to the dressing room. I don't know why the camera's still on them or whatever at this point, but it is. And a kid comes up to Bruce for an autograph, and Bruce snubs him. Like, you're Bruce Hart. What are you snubbing a kid's autograph for? You're Bruce Hart.
Because he's bad company.
But he's Bruce Hart.
He's bad company.
Yeah, but he's not B-A-D-D bad company. He's just the single D bad company.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
No.
He is some bad company. You shouldn't put him around kids because he's going to be bad company.
Yes, exactly.
That's why Bruce Hart did what he did. And bad company with a wild man or loose cannon.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you've got a loose cannon with some bad company. That's just a bad time. You don't want the kids around them.
It's not a good time. No.
I'm surprised he didn't push the kid to the floor.
I got it right on here. No, that's a big one. So, oh yeah. Okay. So Fraser will be right back for sure. Lincoln. Yeah. Did we like up until this point on the card? What are you faking? What's your thought pattern here up to this point?
I hate you so much. I hate you so much is what I'm thinking at this time. I'm just like, of all the events that we can try, why are we watching this dog shit event? It's terrible. It's produced poorly. It's lit poorly. It sounds poor. It's just garbage. Like I said, it made ECW look like a 3-star production.
In 1995 ECW too, which is like
the best
match
on the card.
We're not even there yet.
Fraser thinks it's the best match on the card.
What, the tag team?
The tag team match?
I was
He's joking. Okay.
I'm coming in to stir it up. Stir it up. What's that song? How does it go?
Please don't do that. Please stop singing. Bob Marley, stop it.
We get the in-ring ceremony where Stu gets a bust, and do I have a picture of the bust or said bust?
Bust, guys.
There's the bust. There we go. There's Stu and the bust right there.
Of course, he's got it in a headlock.
Looks like Gordie Howe. It doesn't even look like him.
Yeah, it does.
Well, the Corral had a bunch of hockey stuff in it. It boasted that it had Western Canada's the largest collection of pre-1967 hockey memorabilia at one time or something. But I don't think a bust of Gordie Howe was part of it.
Oh, maybe.
It might have been.
Hey, Tiger. Bust. This Tiger is a great bust for me. Thank you.
I actually love how the entire show, everybody's just like Angela Mosca's in the back, and it just seems like a bunch of like drunk Alberta dads talking about how great Stu Hart is.
Yeah,
just all like, oh, I'm going to tell you about Stu Hart. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's put our arms on each other and talk to the camera, like, but we're talking about Stewie Hart. Yeah, it's all good. And then it just cuts to Stu, and he gets in the ring finally, and he's just like,
well, I don't really think I'm deserving of all this. You guys are all kind of idiots. No, thank you. I guess it's a nice night, but I mean, yeah, fuck, whatever, Please, can we watch some wrestling now, please?
And we will, because we get into the meat and the potatoes of the card. Finally, we go to commercial. We come right back, and there's a nice little interview with Owen Hart, which is kind of touching. I will, watch that back and kind of, I don't want to say get choked up, but I kind of do. And it's like, oh,
this is the best part.
Loves his dad.
This is the best part of the whole of the whole thing.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's touching. It's great.
Yeah,
like that.
Now
and
I
then
feel bad.
comes to walkout, and it's one of the most epic walkouts ever. The way they shot it is, you see it, and it's the camera that follows Owen out, and there's just a single spotlight that just hits him right there. And like even though the production quality on the show is poor, we've established that. That's a money shot right there of just him just walking right through the curtain and that stuff, and the crowd just that.
They shot it in a fucking horse stable. Like, it's a glorified horse stable. It was like, this would have been like
the thing that happened at the Calgary Corral was the birth of Jesus and this wrestling show.
and
the Flames did play there while they built the Saddle Dome as well. So there we go.
Good Lord.
Yeah,
this was the old
Look
Flames
it up. It's the old Calgary Flames arena. Yes, the Oilers beat the Flames there in 1982 in a playoff series, or 83, one of the two.
So at this time,
80
was still playing there.
The Flame, not in 95. No.
Oh, okay.
Nobody was playing there. No, they only tore down the Corral like maybe 3 or 4 years ago to build the new BMO Center on the Stampede grounds. That's fairly recent. So it was up there for a while. I spoke at the Calgary Corral once.
Interesting.
Were you by yourself?
No, I would say
He
well, I
just-
was by
walked
myself on the stage. I was by myself on the stage, but it was during the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo, and that's one of the first iterations of it, I think, in 2011. And that's when content creation and that stuff was first starting. And so the website that I was involved in at the time, we got invited to speak out at a panel, and the panel was at the Corral. So I got a chance to speak out at the Calgary Corral. Now, the attendance was like 20 people, but I still had a chance to speak at the Calgary Corral.
Yo, what did the facility look like? Did they even try to upgrade it?
No, it's
Lord.
so picture. Do you remember what Hall D at the Expo Center here in the city looked like before the Stingers got a hold of it and that stuff?
Yes.
Like the
Kind of.
sort of.
Yeah.
That's basically what the Calgary Corral was, except dustier, mustier. Yes, the smell of horse crap was in the building, and there was a bunch of old hockey memorabilia around there. Like, I wasn't kidding about this hockey memorabilia thing. It looked like it was a hoarder's nest of hockey junk from like the 40s on to like the 60s, you know.
That's kind of cool. I'm fascinated by old goalie pads. I really am.
Oh, there were plenty of old goalie pads.
I'm so fascinated by those.
They look like they came right off of Clint Benedict from 1930, whatever. So.
Nice reference.
Yeah. I couldn't find his face mask anywhere, but there we go. So
they didn't have one.
Well, he's alleged to be the first goalie to have wore one, but he broke his nose and it was like a nose guard type thing more than anything else. But, all that stuff got nuked though in 2013 when they had the flooding in Calgary, when the Bull River flooded and that stuff. And so because the Corral was basically built at parking lot level and that stuff, that building filled up with water, and so all the hockey memorabilia got trashed, right? So they had to throw out all that stuff, which was a damn shame, but there it was. And then shortly thereafter, they agreed to build the brand new BMO Center as part of the whole Stampede ground revitalization thing, yada, yada, yada. So ergo, end of story. This building is no longer around, but the Corral sat 4,900 for wrestling for this event. I think it sat maybe 36 or 3,700 for NHL games. That's it.
So lower bowl.
Basically, yeah. Yeah. Think Arizona Coyotes, and that's what you got.
Gross.
Yeah, I know, right?
that ring, just quickly, that rink that they're playing in Arizona, it is a joke. Like it's not like it's not a nice building. Like, it's a college rink and it's nice. Like it's not, but like it's a joke. Like if that was the Winnipeg Jets and they were and they got kicked out of what do they call it now? MTS Center? What's the
in Arizona there?
No, like
jobbing.
No, Winnipeg's current arena.
Oh, Winnipeg's current arena, yeah.
Winnipeg's current arena is, I think, is they still call it
it was MTS Center. I think it's Canada Life Center now. Yeah,
Canada Life Center. So if they got kicked out of Canada Life Center and they were playing at the University of Manitoba, Gary Bettman would be whipping that team out of Winnipeg so quick. But for whatever reason, he's like, "Thank you, playing Glendale, the University of Arizona State." It was just like it is like,
because the Sun Belt is his baby. That's why he doesn't want to take more teams out of Sun. He had to move Atlanta. That had to have been soul crushing for him. I don't think he's ever recovered from that. Honestly,
not just move Atlanta, but move it to Winnipeg.
Yep.
Well, and I have a coworker. Like we have colleagues who work in the States, and I know a guy who lives outside of Atlanta, and he's a baseball guy, but he doesn't. He's like the Thrashers. He's like, I remember going to some of those games. He's like, nobody cares. I was like, exactly. That's
of course not.
Winnipeg.
It's not a hockey market.
Right.
No, it's not.
All right. Well, we got 2 matches left on this thing. We'll get into this one. The Intercontinental title match was up next. So we had Owen Hart taking on Razor Ramon for the Intercontinental title. You've seen about 9 minutes and 59 seconds of it on the television broadcast. The actual runtime was 16 minutes and 10 seconds. How did this thing wrap up? Where does it finish here for this? So Razor's edge attempt, but the 1-2-3 Kid attempts to interfere. Razor dispatches him and allows Owen to throw Razor over the top on his second Razor's edge attempt on the outside. Owen nails Razor with the ring announcer's mic and rolls Razor back in for the 1-2-3. But the ref calls off the pinfall off camera, which must have been an edit in the show because we never see it. It's just like, oh yeah, this match is ongoing again. It's like, oh, okay, it is. And the match continues, and then Razor then rolls up Owen for the 1-2-3. Typical house show BS, but it'd be house show BS if they would have kept it in the original broadcast. Like, you couldn't have made the kind of the warm-up stuff during the middle of the match and that stuff where they're doing some of the mat work. You couldn't have cut some of that out and that stuff to fit time. I don't understand that. You don't want to cut out the beginning because these guys actually start out like a house on fire, and there are some crazy bumps that Owen's taking in the first 2 or 3 minutes of this match. Like, it's just insane watching this.
This to me was the match of the card.
Oh, it is. It's my favorite match on the card myself.
This was like they started out great. I mean, and they kind of a bad ending. Oh, I was laughing because I was like, what a Canadian ending. They're like, hey, you cheated. Start again. Like, you hit him with the microphone.
Right.
Referee was like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Yep.
But I mean, yeah, like it's
reset, re-rack.
Could have had a better, finish. But I mean, like, in terms of the quality of, obviously it's Owen and Razor both in their primes. Like, this is great. This is great wrestling. Big match. I was surprised that people in Calgary were buying into that at the time because I think Owen was still doing his heel run.
He was well in his heel run. Yeah, he's still got another year or so to go with the heel run because he had just joined Camp Cornette at this point. So
right. So and that's that. I'm interesting because he's like hometown boy. Everybody knows this is Stu's son, and it's Owen. And he had he thought maybe for one night like they would do the whole thing. Like where was it that like it was like that Raw after WrestleMania and like Bad News Barrett had nobody behind him, but because it was in England, they just popped huge for him.
Yes, he was.
And, it's like he's the heel, but everybody was like, Banners, right? Like everybody was just going nuts for him because he was the home.
Well, here's the problem with that, though. You'd figured that, but who is the biggest wrestling star on the planet at that time from Calgary?
Bret Hart,
easily.
And who did Owen basically screw over and attack the year prior? Bret.
I guess so. I guess that makes sense. I guess at this time, like, kayfabe is not as shattered as it is today.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I feel like had this pay-per-view if all these guys were alive right now, I don't think people would have had it because it's such a special niche event. Like, this wasn't Vince McMahon at Gorilla. Like,
no. This was promoted by the Hart family themselves.
Yeah.
Is what it was. Yeah. Exactly.
So I think if something like this would almost be something that almost wouldn't be televised. Like, they probably would have had a live stream of it if it would have happened today. Like,
today, definitely. It would have been like at most an IPPV. That's it,
And so, I think, but I guess at the time, no, all things considered, I guess why they would have had heel because Razor was also he'd already done his face turn, I think, right?
Oh yeah,
he's a huge baby face.
He's still a huge baby face going into even 96 before he leaves. He's a baby face now for the rest of his run because he goes back after this match into feuding with 1-2-3 Kid, like I said, and then it's thrown right into the Goldust feud that is supposed to happen for WrestleMania, but Scott Hall
he's the second biggest baby face in the WWF, ergo the world at this time.
Yeah.
Ooh,
true.
No.
Yep, that's what it is. It's a hierarchy. So if Bret's number 1, Razor's number 2, and it depends on the show. There'd be like we saw with the WrestleFest show that we did. Not a lot of there was a Bret Hart match on there, but that probably was the main event on a house show somewhere in the United States. Whereas the same night, Razor is probably with Jeff Jarrett main eventing another house show somewhere on the Eastern Seaboard.
Hey, about that, can you stop picking weird fucking shows?
Okay.
Pick weirder shows, Kellen. Pick weirder shows.
I don't know which direction to go to.
Make him watch it.
Good Lord.
I want more Tabasco in the
Well,
eyes. I'm gonna go.
I
get you a
did
Costco
have an
size
I have an alternative motive, I should say, in picking this one, is that it leads into my next selection the next time the wheel turns to my selection.
Oh God.
So we had to watch this one in order to fully understand the next one I'm going to pick. So
God, what is the main event going to be? The Repo Man versus like the Blue Meanie? What is that?
I think.
So,
Are you going to Royal Rumble '96?
am I going to Royal Rumble 96? No.
Oh,
No.
because that's the one where the Undertaker beat Bret Hart for the title. I'm pretty sure.
No, not for the title. It was just a
Match.
It was just a match.
Oh, I just looked it up. Undertaker. Well, he won by disqualification.
By disqualification because Diesel comes out and interferes in that thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's to set up Undertaker and Diesel at Mania. Is what that is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So yeah, we all think that this is the best match on the card. There we go. That's it. So,
but that's not a high standard, nor is it a high bar to clear.
We got a scroll of the Stampede Wrestling Hall of Fame, all sorts of names and that stuff and whatever. One notable absence, by the way, on this show is the Dynamite Kid. It's because he had retired from pro wrestling earlier that year in 1995 and was kind of blacklisted by everybody at this point, just because of the, I guess, the way he treated people basically throughout the latter part of his career and so on and so forth. And then the unfortunate a way that he had to end his career with the back injuries and that stuff. And he was just a shadow of himself anyway when he had retired. And unfortunately, he'd go through all the health stuff and everything that led to his demise some years ago. But yeah, it's a very notable name that he's not even, other than passing mention in the main event. They talk about, oh, well, Davey Boy Smith is the British Bulldog now, but he did tag with the Dynamite Kid and he was the British Bulldog. They were the British Bulldogs for a long time, and now he's singular the British Bulldog. That's the only mention we get of Dynamite Kid throughout this. But his name is on the Hall of Fame roll as it scrolls by. So he got that Chiron scroll.
No, I mean, he's in a wheelchair at this point. He's a disgruntled, very skinny shell of himself. So, I mean, hard to, put that out there.
So. Bret Hart with some nice words for Stu as we come back from commercial. And then it's time for the Mizane Easy event, the main event. We've got the British Bulldog taking on Bret the Hitman Hart for they call it the world title. It's the WWF Championship. So what's kind of interesting about this is this happens mere days before Bret and Bulldog are supposed to meet on pay-per-view for the WWF Championship.
In your house, something?
In your house. I think that's the Beware of Dog event.
But that's a really good match, right?
That is a really good match, yes.
Well, how come this one was dog shit?
Because this is a house show pace. Well, I mean, when you got your main event people rolling out on the back of motorcycles, by the way, Kawhi Bret Hart is like, this is my spirit animal now. Just going to say that.
It looks like he's right. Looks like he's riding on it with that guy who was like the head of this Church of Satan. Like that's the guy that was like that like made Marilyn Manson a part of the satanic.
He looks like Michael Jackson getting a lift from Bam Bam Bigelow.
Hey, thanks, Bam Bam. Thanks for giving me a ride to the ring. I love your tattoos. They're so unique and unusual.
Okay, quickly. Hi.
Yes.
They were talking about how they said that's not actually Michael Jackson's voice. Like
in the Simpsons episode?
No. That was there was guys that toured with Michael. And they said like that knew Michael, and they said that was not how Michael actually talked.
That he had a deeper voice than what he let on.
Yeah. And that it's like a Macho Man thing. Like Randy Savage on camera, his voice was not how he actually talked to people.
It was close.
Yeah, but there wasn't enough difference.
But Michael's was like, I talk up here when I'm on interview, and then when he was like by himself, like, hey, how's it going?
Oh, cool. Right on.
What kind of cartoons do you watch? Like he's like
I forget which there's a comedian that I was on a podcast. I think it was with Godfrey, and they were talking about how they're like there's like Michael interview like that, and that's how Michael talk. And then the guy walked away, and he'd just be like, "These motherfuckers." like Mike? He's like, yeah, it's Michael Jackson's way I fucking talk.
Nice.
There's a bunch of interviews out there like that. Like Will.i.am does that one.
Yeah.
Where Michael like forgot which register to be in.
Yeah.
And he's like, Michael, is that what you sound like? Oh, no, that's not it. And T-Pain does that as well, where you got to meet Michael Jackson. He had a very deep voice.
I don't know why it's so funny.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, it's Michael Jackson. You expect him to be like, hi, everybody.
Well, like he still has that. No, but the thing is, he still has that cadence to him. He just has a much deeper voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Like it's all the same words and cadence. It's just like, but it's down here kind of thing.
Yeah.
Say why? Tell me
Why?
Hey, actually, can you turn the treble on that one a little? Okay, yeah, we got it. Why?
Shimona.
We are the world. We are the. Actually, can you come down? No. Yeah, there we go. In the headphone. Okay. We are the children.
Just sounds like Bruce Springsteen. He's like, this is Thriller.
Oh. Can I put this on the record? Bruce Springsteen ruined that song, by the way. We Are the World. That was awful.
Oh, with his bit? Yeah, he kind of
Yep.
oversells it a bit. Doesn't he?
Ugh, what the fuck are you swallowing?
Just
wasn't-
a tad bit overselling.
It wasn't the right guy to get for that song.
No, of course
But
not.
they had to because it was supposed to be like the best of the 80s or of that time.
It was an all-star game.
Yeah, it was the all-star game of singing, and Bruce fucking ruined it.
Any all-star game, you're gonna get people that are legit jacked to be there. Any other ones that are like, meh, I'm just gonna mail it in. It's an all-star game. Who cares?
Oh my god, have you ever seen the behind the scenes when they're recording it and that one guy can't hit his note at all? And Michael is just like, because he's just like vibing out, all of a sudden the guy hits his note, it's like,
Just the death stare.
no, that's not how we no, do that again.
The side eye.
It was so funny. I'm gonna
man.
send that to you afterwards.
Yes, please. I'm gonna kick my feet up and check that out for sure. But anyways, 12 minutes and 43 seconds for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship, and Bret Hart wins. Roll up 1, 2, 3. So there we go. with the counter. I think I was more shocked that they actually had a Stampede referee do the world title match. They couldn't fly anybody up from the WWF to do the Intercontinental and the WWF title.
Who cares?
That's like the only thing that came up with that. But yeah, so I don't know. I have to go back and check out that December 95 In Your House to see if the match that they had for the title is comparable to the SummerSlam, or if there's even anything remotely from this that ended up in that. So that's for future me to take a look and see. That's about it. So
this was like watching who's the champion right now? Let's say this is like watching Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes at the NXT developmental on an iPhone.
well, it's the Whoa. Yeah.
My father said when I was younger.
Hey, that song is amazing to blast home at like 2:00 in the morning on a weeknight when nobody's on the road and you're just driving.
I don't like how it like dissolves in the middle. I don't like how that song goes. Like it just rocks out way too weirdly.
And it kind of goes off a cliff at one point.
Yeah, it goes off the cliff before it finally like gets back to where it's supposed to be.
Right.
I don't like that.
So yeah, there we go.
So
anyway,
yeah.
So,
go ahead. The shit match. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say with this thing, get your guys' opinion. You think it's bad, Craig? Not the best.
I mean, given the caliber of Bret Hart and Davey Boy Smith, this match.
And we did see the SummerSlam match, right? Too.
Yeah, we saw the SummerSlam match.
We saw that, right? So yeah.
That was the thing. The Summers like this, it's like it's hard to think like this. These are the same two competitors, and they weren't. This isn't that long after, right?
No,
that's
only 3 years after.
Yeah, the fact. Yeah, these two after that, like I think they were maybe. I mean, at the end of the day, they're probably doing this like this was like more of like a fun kind of wrestling event. Like this was not Survivor Series. This was not WrestleMania. You know, different stakes. This was at a fucking barn in Calgary with Premier Dickhead in attendance.
Yeah.
And they were probably like, you know what? Let's go out there. It's for dad / father-in-law.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think they were going for quality with this, but like, yeah, like this match with the
let's
the
have
Cal,
fun, don't get hurt. Yeah.
With the Cal, that's the thing, because don't they? I was just checking just quickly on Google. Like, don't they do the in your house a few days after this?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, this is a few days before the in your house.
Yeah, so let's not blow up the spot before we go in for the money that the match we're getting paid for.
And it's not and it's not out of the realm of like WWE still to this day will do it. Like I remember a few years ago, the late great Bray Wyatt, in trying to get the Fiend character over, wrestled a house show main event against Seth Rollins here in Edmonton that within a couple of weeks was the main event of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. So they have done that.
Difference between trying out something new in front of an audience like you would a stand-up comedian and going with what you already know is a main event,
right?
And you got to try a little something first in a small audience. Major difference.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt was trying to try out a whole new ass character. This was, let's reserve ourselves because we're getting big money to do it on big TV in a couple of days. Let's not hurt ourselves at all.
Yeah. I think we're coming down two sides of the same mountain here, but I'm just saying that WWE has a habit of doing this and allowing this. So I'm just saying that's it. Yeah,
that makes sense. But even to that extent, like it wasn't the Fiend, like the actual character, when it not so much like the vignettes and everything, but like in terms of in-ring wrestling, like some of the house shows he did in Canada, wasn't that some of the first times he debuted that character?
That was the whole idea. In fact, the main event here in Edmonton was the first time that he stood in ring as the character in a wrestling match ever with that thing. Well, trying to think. I think no. Let me reverse that. He wrestled Finn Balor at SummerSlam with that character, but this was the first time that they had worked with the Fiend, the character in the main event spot, I should say.
No, did he do the Fiend versus the Demon Finn Balor?
Eventually, it wasn't until later.
That happened on a pay-per-view.
It wasn't until middle of 22, I think that happened. Or no, it wasn't until middle of 21 that happened.
Was that the match?
Or 20, I should say 20, yeah.
Was that the match where Finn Balor's music started to hit and then he started to like regenerate?
I believe so, yeah.
And Michael Cole's like, oh my God!
Yeah. Yeah. They did do Finn Balor versus the Fiend.
The Fiend won.
That was.
The Fiend won.
Yeah. The Fiend won, yeah.
I think Finn Balor went to the top rope and the top rope gave way.
Yes. Yeah, because this was during the Thunderdome era. So yeah, it was definitely like 21, I think, or something that happened. So
yeah, and that was the first time the Demon lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all coming back.
Yeah.
That's the right time to have the Demon lose, is if it's against somebody like the Fiend.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I want to say though that was like a
but then the Fiend lost to Goldberg.
Show pay-per-view. Yeah, he did.
Well, we all know that the Fiend's booking was not like, you had such a great wrestler and character and everything, and you had
a great character.
Yeah.
Well, sort of, because
the
Firefly Funhouse was ridiculous. That was dumb.
It was over the top. We have past
good.
episodes of the thing on the channel here that you've explained your feelings about that in the past.
Oh yeah, it's all booked.
It's
really
all in
hated it. So about this match,
anyway,
lackluster. They were playing it safe. It was for dad / as you said, father-in-law, and they did what they had to do and got out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Ed Whalen just basically wraps it up and says, "Yes, it's been another edition of Stampede Wrestling. Good night, everybody." And goes right into the credits. And
it's been a ring a ding dong dandy.
So, Fraser, you got anything else you want to add to to the match or the card here or anything like that?
It was
No?
a very
Okay.
neat idea that they did something like this, but like there were some big sloppy farts on this card.
What would you give it out of 10 for
this
for
whole pay-per-view?
Yes.
I honestly give it a 3 out of 10.
3. Okay.
The only thing that makes me go like the thing that makes it a 3 and not a 1 is the Owen Razor match.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, by the way, in that Owen Razor match, did you catch the top rope? Like Owen does the sternum first bump into the top rope and it gives away. Yeah. And then the ring crew just rushes through and gets it refixed like it's like a NASCAR. Like they go brawl out to the outside. The cameras catch them brawling on the outside. And then by the time they roll back in the ring, the top ring rope's back on. It's like, damn, they work fast.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So, kudos to them, I guess. I almost hazard to ask this, but what do you give this 1 out of 10? And you can't give it a negative rating. It's got to be a positive from 0 to 10, please. I'm not opening up a negative can of worms here.
This is a first. This gets a 1 out of 10.
Okay. Hey, that's a value. So
I hate you so much for making us watch this.
So there is absolutely nothing redeeming about this card whatsoever. You didn't get a
you can find better matches between Razor Ramon and Owen Hart. You can absolutely find better matches between the British Bulldog and Bret Hart.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to see anything else that's on this card. This was dog shit, poor production, poor lighting. Good Lord, what kind of birthday is that for your 80-year-old dad?
Well, because it's not his birthday. Well, you've already established it. His birthday was in May. This is December.
It was a piece of shit.
This
Fuck
is like
you for making us watch this.
Well,
we should almost suspend your turn for doing this.
I mean, I'm cool with that.
You owe me another Tabasco.
I'm cool with that ruling. If the crew,
no. That's
wants to do it. It goes.
No. You know what? Because awful wrestling makes for good content.
Yes, it does.
And this was the definition of awful. Let me tell you, Ralph Klein. You made me see Ralph. He died. I never had to see him again. And you bring him back to life with this.
I brought him back to life.
Oh, the Undertaker.
Yeah.
He looked about as fat as him, as Paul Bear.
Speaking
oil and gas. Anyways.
Speaking of, I'm gonna make the Undertaker rest in peace right now, because we're done with that.
What do you give it?
What do I give it?
Yeah.
I'm really above Fraser. I'm going to give it a 4. I'm giving it a 4 because
I hate your ratings. I hate your rankings. I hate your choices.
Because I dug the Intercontinental title match. Like I said, the Owen segment kind of got me. I was like, oh, that's nice and that stuff. And then
I feel so bad about
the dichotomy of a heel Owen Hart.
I feel so bad about that.
That was
because he's all like, because you guys have such a sentimental feeling about what he says, and meanwhile, when he's like, "Oh man, they were the best parents anybody could ever have. I wish there's still parents out there like Stu and Helen."
Yeah.
And then in my brain, I flash back to what his childhood must have been of like, "Did you do your homework? Did you do your homework?
Hey, Tiger, did you do your homework? Put your arm behind your head here. There you go. How's that?
And I mean, I see the historical significance of it. It's the last time where a lot of these, the old timers got together and that stuff, and were able to see each other and that stuff before they started to die off and whatever. And that stuff. And then unfortunately, you look at this and probably a good portion of the card is dead. So it's like, okay, yeah, it's
this
first
would
time,
have been
time, only time. Yeah.
This would have been a cool myth. This would have been a very cool myth. Like somewhere in the mid 90s, it was for the Hart family, and they resurrected Stampede Wrestling one last time, and the champion of the WWF had a match against his brother-in-law, and it was this great event, and all the old guys were there, and Ed Whalen, and we had just the greatest time. And Only people who were there got to see it. And back in the tape trading days, we wish we had a tape of this. We wish we could have seen it, but it doesn't exist. Only those who were there got to witness this great event between WCW and WWF in the mid-90s. Like, it would have been an amazing myth, but to actually see it, this was dog shit.
Here's something that just popped in my mind. Maybe the booking for the final 2 matches was backwards in the participants. Hear me out here. Have Bulldog go against Razor and have Owen against Brett.
Who booked this thing?
This would have been the Hart family that put it together. So it would have been Bruce and Keith. And
so this went through 7 brothers of fighting. I need to get my shit in for Vince.
Yeah. Well, that's why 1-2-3 Kid was flying to town thinking he's facing Chris Benoit, and then all of a sudden he's taking on Keith Hart in a match.
Pump your brakes. That's not really a great match because you could watch that on 7 in a row WCW Saturday nights of Benoit versus 6. It's not that great.
Yeah.
Hold your horses.
It does eventually does happen in 96. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, on Saturday nights on free TV.
Yeah.
So it ain't a big deal.
I think this entire show is about as disappointing as Brazil's performance since the 2002 World Cup.
It's about as disappointing as Ilya Samsonov's career as a Toronto Maple Leaf.
It's very sad.
It's about as disappointing as the Denver Broncos season.
What do you mean? We're going to move on to better and better things. We have a lot of bright spots. We got rid of the.
So does Russ come back? Are you bringing Russ?
He's done. He's gone.
He's gone. Okay.
Trash. Bye.
You can't have Gino because I'm just saying Gino's staying in Seattle, man. We might
Russell's
get rid of our coach, but Gino's staying.
Russell's going back to Seattle, and he's going to want his own office in Boeing Stadium or whatever they're going to call it now. Lumen Field.
No.
This is more disappointing than where the Scottish boundary ended up.
Oh,
I don't know. I mean, your heritage's boundaries were also affected by the same empire. So I mean, the point is kind of moot.
I
just like how you said moot because you sounded like Jesse Ventura accidentally when you did that.
Oh, speaking of, we so if you're listening to the audio portion of this, you heard from the governor before, but we haven't heard from the governor on the YouTube stream or anything yet.
Do we need to?
So I think we do.
Come on, we can do a condensed version. It goes like this: well, Navy SEAL Stromboli, and then you're done.
So Governor Ventura, were you asked to take part in the Stu Hart birthday celebration back in December of '95?
Well, actually, I had an offer come my way to wrestle in Stu Hart's anniversary. I was actually there for his 70th birthday party, where I wrestled a 500-pound hippopotamus named Bongo. And I refused because Stu Hart and I got into a fight in a cafeteria in Red Deer, Alberta, where I was using plastic forks and knives, and he was using a plastic straw. And the fight was so gruesome with so much collateral damage that Ralph Klein actually banned me from ever coming back to Alberta because of the carnage that ensued in the fight with me and Stu Hart.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why. I just got this vision in my head of them fighting in a Chinese restaurant.
Off a gasoline alley.
Yeah, you know the one, don't you?
I know the one because I've ate there several times.
Yeah. And it's just like Stu Hart eating noodles with his hands.
Stu Hart actually looked at me and was like, "Hey, Tiger, you want to wrestle me?" And I said, "I'll wrestle you." And he said, "Well, okay, let's go." And so I got my plastic knives and forks, and he got a plastic straw, and we had a battle to the death. But we only had to get separated because Preston Manning showed up in a limo and said, "Stop this now." And I said, who the hell are you? And he said, I'm Preston Manning. And I said, you're irrelevant. And I punched him in the throat. But because of this, I didn't realize I had struck a public official. And at this time, I was about to become the governor of Minnesota. And so I realized that I had to go and pay my penalty in the local jail in Red Deer, Alberta, where I was fed couscous on a platter. And Stu Hart got to walk free. And that is why I refuse to go to Canada, because they have partial treatment of people who get into brawls that cause mass carnage and damage to public property.
And you know what? The funny thing was Ed Whalen actually saw the entire thing and he was commentating it, but he was by himself at his own table.
Obviously.
So he was just kind of yelling in the background.
You tell me who was there. I'll tell you who was there. Joe Pesci was also in the restaurant. Pesci was in the restaurant. He said, look at these motherfuckers over here fighting. And I said, well, Joe Pesci, you know what? I got to do this because Stu Hart's insulting my honor. And then that's all I got to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's gone now.
And well, here comes, he's got the hotel pan. They're bringing out more beef and broccoli.
That's a ring-a-ding-dong-dandy.
Ed Whalen can't talk without making it like just regular conversation. Sounds like he's commentating something. Exactly. He's like, hey, where do you want to go for dinner tonight? He's like, well, I could go to McDonald's, but at the end of the night, I might be thinking Arby's. I'm going to go to Arby's.
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking of an Arby's bit with him. That's crazy.
Arby's.
I don't know why. I just had this vision of like him eating Arby's from
Arby's
upside down
BOGO
Stampede
beef days.
BOGO beef days at Arby's.
BOGO beef days at Arby's.
3 melts for $10. Now at Arby's. We have the meat.
We have the meat. That's it. So, all right. Well, working the giant wheel of rotations here and that stuff, it is now Mr. TL's turn for the next pay-per-view. So it's your pick, sir. Your pick. You don't have to name your pick now.
Yeah, I'm not going to because I don't have one yet. But
I know. I'm just saying.
My goal is to not pick one as bad as this.
Okay, well, I've picked the worst show. We have
like, okay, I've picked some bad ones by mistake because I thought they were good and then we watched them and they weren't good.
Yeah.
But you knew better. And you've picked
actually I
shit.
did. I've always wanted to actually sit down and review this show, but the thing is that would it play well in this format? And I'm like, well, give it a shot, see what happens.
The Corral. The VHS tape. Was that Survivor Series U, the one where Doink takes on Jerry Lawler?
Yes. Was it me? I can't remember. No, it was Fraser. Fraser wanted
because Undertaker took on somebody in the main
event. You wanted
event,
Chuck Norris, right? Because that's the one with Chuck Norris.
That was Undertaker versus Yokozuna, and Chuck Norris came out.
Yeah, with Chuck Norris. Yeah, yeah, that was Fraser that picked that one.
Yes, right in his face stomach.
So funny.
All right, I'll try to pick a good one.
I'll pick whatever.
No, I'm going to try and pick a good one.
Okay, well, you pick a good one.
I don't think I could find the bad ones that you have. You've had to go to a special like desk somewhere and pull those out on VHS.
So WrestleFest 95 was a rare tape. So I figured, okay, well, let's do a rare tape and see what happens. It ends up just being a compilation of just house show matches. This was, it's a different show, but you look at it and it's a lot of top name guys from WWF taking on, there's some stuff and there's some, like I said, there's the weirdness of the inter-promotional play a little bit and stuff like that. And it's like, okay. But other than that, yeah, okay. I could see where this one is just like, So
I just want to know,
yes,
where do you find these horrible things?
Oh, I got a collection of them.
And you just kind of resurface them.
They just kind of resurface once in a while, yeah.
Like I said, you're going to have one where the Repo Man's in the main event, and we're going to have to review that shit.
But like I said, this one sets up my next pick. So we had to watch this one in order to roll out my next pick.
Oh, that has to be in your house.
No.
Why? It only happens a few days later.
It does, but that wasn't my next pick.
Oh, God's sake. And friggin' Ventura over here is going to pick the best of The Undertaker, volume, I don't know, 5.
I was thinking of going King of the Ring 97.
What happens there?
Undertaker defeats Farouk. That was the Undertaker Legion of Darkness versus the Nation, beating Farouk, and Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold ended in a double DQ. Triple H, Hunter versus Hemsley and Mankind. Hart Foundation against Psycho Sid and the Legion of Doom. Goldust Crush, Mankind, and Jerry Lawler. And because that was Hunter Hearst Hemsley and Ahmed Johnson. Because
there's some
King
of the Ring tournament and that stuff. There's some interesting stuff there. That's Psycho Sid's last match in the WWF as well.
I believe.
Yeah, and then there is the rest, like Undertaker Farouk. That's a slept on main event from '97 because that's just right before the Hart Foundation Canada versus US angle starts really percolating a little bit and that stuff. So not a lot of people remember that, but yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah.
What was our rule for picking stuff again?
I believe the amendment that you made was it has to be in the F era. Nothing from the Get the F Out from May 2002 and newer.
Okay, I got you.
I wanted to expand it to a 10-year rule where we have 10 years and older, but
you know what? I'm going to put my pick out there right now.
Okay.
I'm going to pick it out right now. Here we go. As a big finish for this. Because I've never seen it. I want to know how bad this was.
Oh.
Bash at the Beach 96.
Wow. You're going WCW.
I'm going WCW.
This is our first WCW pick on the series.
Yeah, I want to know how bad this was.
Was this the beginning of the NWO?
This is the birth of the NWO.
This is the birth of Hogan joining the NWO.
Oh, the heel turn to end all heel turns.
This is one of the biggest moments in all of wrestling, but I have no idea what's on the card. I have no idea what precedes that moment. I don't even know what the main event actually was that led to that happening.
Right.
So I want to see what was Bash at the Beach 96 before Hogan turns to the NWO.
Interesting. Let's do it.
I can dig that. I'll dig my teeth into that and get all that information that you need and require for that for sure. Okay. Well, you heard it here, folks. We'll do a Bash at the Beach 1996. That's Mr.TL's. That's the first time ever we've had a pick ready to go at the end of the previous show. So there we go.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. That's a first here on the channel. But we'll go into the social media portion of the show. Craig, where can they follow you on social media and what you got upcoming, my friend?
At CraigPFraser, we'll have another episode of My Wife's Dreams, the podcast I do with my wife. It's usually pretty funny. Another Not So Secret Diary episode will be coming out hopefully around the end of January, maybe by around Valentine's. Matt and I will be, my co-host, will be unleashing something out. I'm on Twitter. I don't really respond much. And there's Facebook and there's Instagram, and I don't really care.
Send them all your Ralph Klein memes.
Send me your Ralph Klein memes. I'm not going to respond.
Nice.
And Mr. TL, what do you think?
TMLoutan. I want all the smoke, all the controversy, all of the things. If y'all have watched Cat Williams on the Shannon Sharp podcast, please come at me. That shit was hilarious.
I have yet to see that, but you're selling me on it. I got to check it out.
He spilled the tea on everybody.
Okay.
And you go ahead with your last one, but I want to pitch something after you're done your little plugs here.
Okay. All right. Well, it's just simply my social media at Kellen Nitro. By the way, shout out to the folks watching on my Twitter tonight. There was quite a few of you that had checked out and turned it on for the entire time. That's awesome. This will be available on SoundCloud, for the links on the YouTube channel. It'll be obviously available through YouTube as well, so you can go back and check it out. And Facebook video has the whole VOD, so you can go back and check this out whenever you want. This is our first show of 2024, and as Mr. TL just dropped, the next one's going to be a monster for sure. Yeah, I'm still like, that's whoa. You ever watch a bad Raw, but then at the end of the Raw they do something and it's like, okay, they got me. That's
kind of
what
like
this feels
CM Punk's pipe bomb in Las Vegas.
Yep. So there we go. So that's that. If you have a show that you'd like for us to check out, please email us at nitromaniactv@gmail.com. Only order of rule that I have with the show is if it's on a streaming service, please specify which streaming service it's on.
Please.
It just makes it easier. And if you have a link for it, like if it only exists on YouTube or something like that, even better. That makes it easier for us to take a look at it and for me to work my magic with the stills and everything like that. So there we go. Everything, tinyurl.com/Nitromaniac TV for everything above and all the links and all that stuff to the channel and so on and so forth. And yeah, linktr.com/Kellen Nitro for the rest of my stuff too. Lots of racing stuff going up on the Drag Files channel. And this channel will get a little bit more busy too as I get my button gear doing a little bit more stuff. So yay. Definitely. Gentlemen, thank you again. This was a fun time. It's always a fun time. Too sweet.
Wait. Let me ask the thing. A little bit of planning here. What y'all doing end of this month?
I'm hoping to watch Royal Rumble. I hope I'm alive to
Me
watch
too.
Royal Rumble.
Now, Royal Rumble comes a couple of days after my birthday.
Yes.
So I'm probably doing all my birthday stuff the weekend before Rumble, but the
Okay.
weekend
Yeah.
of Rumble, y'all want to watch or what?
Yeah, let's do TL's watch party again.
Okay.
Great Rumble. And I'm going to bring cabbage rolls.
Nice.
Ooh. If he brings cabbage rolls, I got to bring something. I'll think of something.
What goes good with cabbage rolls? Because
Pierogies.
Brogies. We're going to have a
Pierogies.
Ukrainian feast. It'll be big Ukrainian feast. It'll be great time.
I'm gonna make
Lots of
Ukrainian food.
You're making
Oh, is this
You're going to get
It's
the
full of-
kielbasa. You're going to get the naleneski. You're going to
Yes.
get the pierogi.
You gonna get the curry. Trust me.
It's good. It's good. It's a sour cabbage. It's pickled cabbage with roast bacon. and tomato.
I live dangerously close to one of the best Ukrainian restaurants in the city. I'm just saying.
Which one?
Shumka.
Oh.
Yep. It's right off of 97th Street in the north side. Yo.
Okay.
And they got takeout.
Okay, so what I gotta make? I'm making like
we can discuss off stream.
No, I'm doing kubasa.
Tracy Morgan talking about kubasa.
I want pierogies and kubasa.
Pierogies and kubasa.
Y'all need the pierogi boiled or you fry them?
When they come from Shumka, they're just boiled, but we can easily throw them in a frying pan for 2 or 3 minutes just to touch.
I like them boiled and doughy.
Air fryer. Air fryer.
Yeah, that even works too. Air fryer works.
No, then it tastes like a hot pocket with mashed potato.
That's the point. This is how you have pierogi. You fry pierogi. You bake it. It's nice and crispy.
There's no air fryer back in the old country.
This is what my great grandmother made halupsi and pierogi. As you put it in oven in a crisp pierogi. That is how
Yes.
you blend it.
So you Scottish and Ukrainian?
Ukrainian on my mother's side. Person
I
that
bet black pepper was a head exploder for all y'all.
Yes.
I can eat
Actually-
more spice than you can, Tyler.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that.
And
You
and-
do
and it-
not want to mess with me, you cricket playing person.
when we hook up for when we
You
hook
play
up
your
for
cricket.
when we hook up for TL's Rumble party, be prepared to podcast later because we'll do another. We'll set up another live podcast from TL's just because we know how to do that now. And on top of that, bring like your favorite singular match suggestions as well too. Just because I dug that vibe after Post Rumble last year, we were just throwing singular matches at each other on the network. It was fun.
Oh yeah.
That was great.
Well, that depends. Mr. Craig, is you down?
For what?
What?
For Royal Rumble on Saturday, 27.
Yeah, I'm good.
Boys Night Royal Rumble. Okay, cool.
All right.
All right. Well, that's it, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your day or evening or whenever you're listening to us. We will catch you next time here on. Oh, and I forgot to do the thing. Hang on. I'm going to do the thing. Here's the thing. Thing has been done. Every show. Gotta do the thing.
Warrior, I'm coming for you, warriors.
Well, it is
Are you
January.
an honorable man, warrior?
I'm the warrior.
No! I don't know. So, but anyways, later days, happy wrestling watching, folks. I'll catch you next time here on Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited.